If you like the story, you can support the author on Patreon. Link is in the description. Additionally, if you would like to request novels and access my Google Drive where I have 200 plus audiobooks, then you can join my Patreon. Link is also provided in the description.
Chapter 161, Youth Cup 5. Johto Region. Around a lake, a lot of destruction could be seen. A young man around the age of 25 picked up an Ultra Ball. His name was Asmodeus, someone who was an Aura Guardian and trained under Kong Gyun. Finally! I did it! I caught all the 3 legendary beasts of Johto region. Today, after a long battle, he was successful to catch all 3 legendary beasts of the Johto region. Begin Rei Kao, Enti, and Suakun. Clap! Clap! A man around the age of 30 stood beside Asmodeus and clapped for his success with a gentle smile. He had well done purple hair and hid his eyes with sunglasses. For some reason, he had bandages wrapped around his arms. That was an amazing battle, Asmodeus, the man said. Although I was going to return to Kanto, but I needed to check if the rumor of Suakun being seen was true or not. Thank you, Mr. Fans, without your help, I would have never found Suakun. Please tell me how I can repay you for this favor, Asmodeus said excitedly. If you want to repay me, let me watch the battle between you and Ho-Oh. I had a dream to watch Ho-Oh ever since I was a child. Fans replied. Just that. I will be sure to fulfill this wish. Currently, I am going to Kanto to participate in the Indigo League. After the league is over, I would continue my journey in search of Ho-Oh. I would contact you when the time comes. Asmodeus replied. That's a good idea. My lord, this person. A voice from the shadows rang inside Fans's head, seeing the departing figure of Asmodeus. Phew, he can use aura. He shall be my first human commander. Let him grow a bit more before I bring him to my side. Fans smiled. Where shall we go next, lord? Let's head to Sinnoh. I heard that there is an interesting organization called Team Galactic who are working to create a gate to the distortion world. Let's help them to fasten the process and retrieve my real body from the distortion world. Unova region. The battle between Sabrina and Cynthia began. Sabrina ordered all her Pokémon to use Calm Mind and keep using Teleport to dodge all the attacks that Cynthia's Pokémon threw at them. Pokémon like Bayonet and Dusk Noir immediately became shadows to hide. Sabrina had her mind connected to all her Pokémon and would be using telepathy to command them. With psychic powers, she would be boosting their psychic type moves too. Cynthia knew that attacking now would be a waste of time and commanded her Pokémon to boost their powers and stay vigilant. She had her Spiritomb go into the shadows and had Umbreon keep an eye on Sabrina's ghost-type Pokémon. In Cynthia's mind, Sabrina was the strongest trainer after Aoki, whom she had to be careful against. Sandstrom's strategy would not work against Sabrina. Normal brute forcing was not also an option, as psychic Pokémon were the most difficult to attack due to their abilities. Massive attacks like Garchomp's Earthquake would not work against two, since all of Sabrina's Pokémon can float in the air. Umbreon's eyes widened by it was too late, as Psychic from 4 different Psychic Pokémon hit her, immediately eliminating her. Normally it would be impossible for a Psychic attack to hit Dark-type Pokémon, but with an ability called the Miracle Eye, this immunity was neutralized. The elimination of Umbreon made Cynthia's Pokémon jump to battle. Garchomp and Lucario with their insane speed immediately reached Gardevoir and Alakazam, who dodged the first wave of attack using Teleport and countered back. Dusknoir engaged Melodic, keeping it busy, while Espeon and Bayonet began collaborating to take down Spiritomb. Lastly, Slowbro engaged Rose Raid. 2 minutes after the intense battle started, Cynthia's Spiritomb eliminated Espeon while Slowbro eliminated Rose Raid. Cynthia could eliminate Bayonet if she focused more, but she would lose Spiritomb early on, which was her secret weapon for last. Seeing that 2 of her Pokémon were eliminated, Cynthia switched formation, with Garchomp being at the center with Lucario, Spiritomb, and Melodic supporting him. Till now, Sabrina's Pokémon had used Teleport a lot, so the frequency that it can be used has reduced considerably. Using his top speed, Garchomp used Dragon Dance charged Dragon Rush, with his first target being Slowking. But before the attack can hit, 2 waves of Future Sight hit Garchomp along with Dusknoir tanking the Dragon Rush, destroying the momentum. Sabrina knew Bayonet could use Destiny Bond, so she made Bayonet and Slowbro forcefully drag Spiritomb out of the formation, with Alakazam attacking Lucario with strong psychic attacks. The fight continued. At this time Garchomp managed to take down Dusknoir, but she lost far more. Bayonet forced Spiritomb to use Destiny Bond on Slowbro and go down with him, while Bayonet used Destiny Bond on Melodic. Finally, Alakazam took down Lucario while Gardevoir and Dusknoir kept Garchomp busy. Cynthia was only now down to her injured Garchomp while Sabrina had 2 of her elite Pokémon active. Alakazam focus on defense only, Gardevoir use Destiny Bond, Sabrina commanded with a smile, making Cynthia's face grim. Seems like Cynthia's journey ends here. Misty said. Too bad, I wanted to fight her too, Steven said. You two are wrong, Cynthia will win. Aoki said. What are you talking about? You should believe in your other girlfriend. The current situation doesn't seem favorable for Cynthia at all, Steven said. Tell me, Steven, what are the methods to break free of the Destiny Bond? Aoki asked. To have a higher energy level than the caster. So what? All 3 of them are at the elite stage, and Garchomp cannot break free of Destiny Bond. You are forgetting something, Steven. Garchomp was not just elite rank, it was at quasi-champion rank and just needed a push, Aoki said, making Steven snap his head towards Garchomp. Don't tell me. Steven could not finish his sentence as Garchomp's dragon-type energy went wild, almost covering the entire field. The next second, a wave of champion rank energy washed over Garchomp and Alakazam as Gardevoir felt the connection of density bond snap. Cynthia smirked seeing her partner reach the champion rank. Sabrina's smile dropped seeing the change in Garchomp. The Elite Four and other participants were horrified to see someone so young in control of a champion-level Pokémon. Show them what a true monster looks like. Garchomp. Use full power outrage. Before Aloxum could even reach, he became a blur as he was hit with outrage. Boom! Alakazam crashed into the stadium wall and immediately fainted. Garchomp's dragon-type energy now covered the entire field as he reached Gardevoir almost immediately. Gardevoir used teleport, but Garchomp's speed now matched with teleportation speed. It only lasted a few seconds till Gardevoir became prey to Garchomp's outrage. With 1 Pokémon left, Cynthia from Sinnoh won against Sabrina after an unexpected yet amazing battle. Chapter 162, Youth Cup 6. VIP Section. One of the Sinnoh League higher UPS jumped with joy seeing Cynthia's Garchomp reach the champion level and defeat a strong opponent like Sabrina. Now we have another champion rank trainer with his. Cynthia is still young and has the potential to grow even more. We must ensure that she stays connected to the league and joins the ranks of the Elite Four. After the event ends, create a pass for Cynthia to enter the battle frontier in Hone, the person said to the other person beside him. Sir, but she is not qualified to enter. Shut up, just feed those island dwellers some extra funds and it will be done. We must ensure that Cynthia grows stronger, we can't let the other regions have better trainers than us. Fine, it would be done, sir. Meanwhile in the Kanto section. She is pretty good for someone not being an executive of Team Rocket, a middle-aged man with a serious expression said. He was Alfred, one of the highest-ranking members of the Kanto League Alliance. I heard she left Team Rocket a month ago, Agatha replied. Team Rocket or not, she is strong and smart. From the information I received, she is very close to Professor Gunhilder. She might benefit from being him. Misty Williams went from having nothing to becoming a contender in the Youth Cup by traveling with him. The person said. Get to the point, Agatha said. Team Rocket, Researcher Alliance, Hunter Guild, none of the affiliations matter as long as they benefit the Kanto region and strengthen the trainers. Every organization knows what happens if they go against the regional alliance. What ultimately matters is the benefit of the Kanto region. Misty Williams, Sabrina, and Aoki Gunhilder are one of the most excellent trainers of this generation who are willing to grow. Let's make sure their requests are fulfilled. If any of them becomes the champion, let's not make them caged in their office doing paperwork. A new team would be created for that. I am passing a bill for this and to give the champion more freedom so that they can explore more and grow stronger. How do you feel, Sabrina? Aoki asked, stopping Sabrina in the hallway. If you are asking about how I feel after losing, I don't really feel frustrated since I almost had her. The battle was enjoyable since I don't really face strong opponents every day. Next time we fight, the outcome would be different, Sabrina said with an emotionless face. After the battlefield was switched, Steven and Malwa entered the stadium for their next rounds. Steven was the first one to reveal his team, which was made of Claydol, Agron, Cradley, Elite Rank Skarmory, Elite Rank Armaldo, and his ace Shiny Metagross. Malva had a full fire-type team of Talonflame, Torkoal, Chandelure, Houndoom, Elite Rank Delphox, and her ace Elite Rank Pyroar. Although Malva had a fire-type team, Steven was still a terrifying opponent to face. Since most of Steven's Pokémon were slow in comparison to Malwa, he decided to play a slow and defensive battle where Steel types excelled at it. The battle lasted for about 20 minutes with Steven winning the match, his Metagross and his Skarmory barely standing. The next round was something a lot of people were waiting for. Aoki vs Phoebe, who had a line of sweat drawn on her face after her name was called. Although it was a better choice to give Aoki a free pass, people wanted to see him fight more, and this is why he was selected to fight. While praying to God, Phoebe released her Pokémon to the field. Sabai, Miss Magnus, Bayonet, Dusk Noir, Elite Rank Chandelure, and Elite Rank Drift Blim. Seeing her lineup, Aoki released the same team: Charizard, Salamence, Gyarados, Clefable, Victreebel, and Nidoking. Although Nidoking seemed a bad option since his physical attacks could pass through ghost Pokémon while leaning Sucker Punch, and with the help of Darkrai, Nidoking had now a good mastery over Dark-type moves and is currently able to infuse them with his physical attacks. Since Phoebe was a friend to Aoki, decided to let her show her abilities before defeating her and not give her the Claire treatment. The match started with all of Aoki's Pokémon taking a defensive stance, with Phoebe going full attack mode from the start, utilizing the evasive abilities of Ghost-type Pokémon. Since Drift Blim knows Destiny Bond, Aoki made sure that he would not execute that move. The match continued for 5 minutes with Phoebe trying her best, but people with experience could easily realize that Aoki was playing with Phoebe. Deciding that it was enough, Aoki gave a signal. Clefable used Gravity with Psychic, drawing out all the ghost Pokémon as Gyarados' Dark Pulse hit all of them at the same time. Without giving much time, Nidoking engaged in a physical battle with his body clad in Dark-type energy. Charizard and Salamence didn't hold back and began using non-stop Fire and Dragon-type moves. Victreebel stayed in one corner and sniped the opponents using Solar Beam. Clefable didn't attack much and only focused on making sure the moves connect. The first one to go down was Drift Blim before Destiny Bond could be even used. Within a minute, the entirety of Phoebe's team was wiped out. No one in the tournament came close to the destructive power that Aoki's Pokémon had, especially Salamence, who appeared to be more of a menace than Cynthia's Garchomp. With the audience going wild, Aoki left the stadium with Phoebe leaving shortly after getting her thoughts together. With all the matches for the day done, the semi-final match UPS were announced that would take place 3 days later. 1 Aoki Gunhildr vs Steven Stone. 2 Cynthia Shirana vs Diantha. Chapter 163, Youth Cup 7. Author note: I am losing motivation to continue this arc, so I am going to end this by the next chapter and continue with Aoki's adventures. Asterisk. A few days later, it was time for the semi-finals of the Youth Cup. Just like the last rounds, the friends Steven and Diantha made in the last few days helped them to train against the monsters they would face. Cynthia didn't need anyone to help her as she was busy finding out the limits of her newly reached champion, Garchomp. Aoki, Misty, and Sabrina had disappeared, making everyone think that the two girls were helping him train, but he was enjoying a vacation at the beach with the two beauties. All of his Pokémon got a 3-day break from training for relaxing too. The hatred of Axia for Aoki decreased a bit after knowing that if he impressed Aoki, he could visit his family with Darkray's ability. Gyarados wanted to fly in the oceans of Unova, so he let him be, while Salamence, Charizard, Pidgeot, and Aerodactyl went on a flying trip all over Unova. Aoki didn't think they would be in any danger, so he was not worried. Nidoking and Victreebel stayed in the White Forest for brawling with wild Pokémon and understanding nature respectively. Aoki stepped into the battlefield with a relaxed smile on his face, while Steven stood opposite to him with a confident smile. "We are finally having a fight, Steven. Don't hate me if you lose," Aoki said, taking out a Pokeball. "Sure, I would not hate you, if you win, that is," Steven replied. "Confident are we? Let's see if you hold up to that confidence in battle," Aoki said, releasing his lineup. Pidgeot, Charizard, Aerodactyl, Salamence, Selfable, and Nidoking appeared on the battlefield and took their stance. The appearance of a rare Pokémon like Aerodactyl made the audience reach a new level of excitement. Although Steven cursed inside his head, he still didn't change his expression and released his team: Claydol, Agron, Cradily, Elite Rank Skarmory, Elite Rank Armaldo, and his ace shiny Metagross. Steven was at a huge disadvantage against Aoki's Pokémon, as most of them were capable of using Fire-type moves. Moreover, 4 of them could fly, making it very difficult for everyone except Skarmory to attack the opponent. Steven knew that he could not win against Aoki, but he had to at least take down a few Pokémon of Aoki, or else all the hard work he put in would be for nothing. The match began with Nidoking immediately dashing toward Agron as he was in the front. All of Steven's Pokémon could use earthquakes, but Clefable used gravity to lift up Nidoking as he smashed Agron with Fire Blast. Aoki's Pokémon who were in the sky dived down one by one, selecting one of Steven's Pokémon as their target. Although Aoki could command his Pokémon to use fire-type moves to end quickly, he wants to show Steven that he would defeat him without using type advantage moves. Not even a minute passed and Claydol, Cradily, and Agron were eliminated by Clefable, Aerodactyl, and Nidoking. The battle went on for another minute with Steven trying his best but unable to do anything as Aoki's Pokémon kept thrashing his Pokémon. Teamwork, power, speed, in almost every aspect Aoki's Pokémon were superior to him. His Scarily lost to the rematch with Pidgeot while his Armaldo lost to the combination of Charizard and Clefable. Aoki throughout the match had blocked every single strategy he had thought of. Sandstorm strategy? Aoki's Pokémon would just blow it away. Mass Earthquake strategy? None of Aoki's Pokémon would touch the ground. Defensive play? Aoki's Pokémon had too much destruction power for that to work. I was saving this for the finals but whatever. Since I am losing here, I would at least take one of your Pokémon down. Steven said as his armband started to glow in a golden light that spread to his entire body. Metagross too started glowing in a golden light as Steven moved his hand to do a weird posture. Some Elite Four and professors had the idea of what Steven was trying to do but were surprised to see it here nonetheless. The stadium went quiet as almost no one had any idea of what Steven was doing. Steven was about to use a Z move. It was something completely unexpected to Aoki since the Alola region was recently added to the League Alliance. Z move. Metagross uses Shattered Psyche. A purple energy blast of psychic energy shot out of Metagross towards Aoki's Pokémon. The power of the energy reached champion rank and could potentially take out any of Aoki's Pokémon if it hits. Salamence, stop holding back and use Hyper Beam, Aoki commanded as Salamance's champion level energy covered the entire field. The League office Alfred and Agatha had a smile sensing Salamance's champion level energy. Ha! This guy is a menace. Alfred commented. Boom! Hyper Beam of Salamence and Metagross's Z-move Shattered Psyche clashed resulting in an ear-shattering explosion and shockwave. The audience closed their eyes and ears to protect themselves from the bright light and sound. Clefable used her powers to create a barrier to protect everyone while Aoki created a barrier made of dark aura for himself. Agatha's Gengar immediately dragged Steven to its shadows as the ground developed deep cracks destroying the battlefield. Steven could be harmed if he stayed there. As everything calmed down, Metagross could be seen lying outside the field fainted while smoke was still rising from the champion rank Salamance's mouth who was still unharmed. Steven was extremely disappointed in finding that he could not even take down at least one of Aoki's Pokémon even after using Z-move. One thing was confirmed, for his future and status, Steven had to get Aoki on his side. Aoki Gunhilder won the round without losing a single Pokémon yet again and now would be competing in the finals. Cynthia from the audience clenched her fists seeing Aoki too having a champion-level Pokémon. Due to his battlefield being destroyed, everyone had to be shifted to the next stadium for the match between Cynthia and Diantha to happen. Although it was an inconvenience, the excitement from the last battle made people forget about the problem. Z-move. Something so fascinating appeared in the world and made people cheerful more than ever. A lot of trainers now wanted to perform a Z-move too. Another thing that set up a storm was Aoki's champion-level Salamence. Cynthia was no longer the only trainer to have a champion-level Pokémon. After 3 hours when everyone had adjusted themselves, the match between Cynthia and Diantha started. Just as most people thought, Cynthia with her champion-level Garchomp won the match by only losing 3 of her Pokémon to Diantha. Now only the last match remains. The finals. Aoki Gunhilder vs Cynthia Shiranoff for the title of the winner of the Youth Cup. Chapter 164, Youth Cup Finals. Youth Cup Finals. Garchomp Dragon Rush. Garchomp became a blur and immediately reached Lucario, who only dodged the attack by an inch. Unable to control his newfound speed, Garchomp crashed to the ground creating a big crater. Other Pokémon of her took the opportunity and jumped on Garchomp, but a Dragon Claw from him was enough to throw them away. Don't mind. Do it again. She only had 3 days to prepare against Aoki, who was a monster to face against. As soon as Garchomp got ready for another round of attack, a psychic attack hit him, pinning him to the ground. Cynthia snapped her head in the direction from where the attack came and found that it was an Alakazam who had Sabrina on his shoulder. What is the meaning of this, Sabrina? Are you here to interfere with my training? Cynthia asked with a bit of annoyance. She didn't have any time to spare for anyone because her battle was the most important thing to her right now. I had no interest in interfering with anyone. No matter how much you train, you are not going to win, Sabrina replied with a thin smile. This is why I decided to help you with your training so that at least you can stand a chance against Aoki. Is that right, Misty? Sabrina said as Misty came from behind a tree. Ignore her words, Cynthia, we just thought of helping you train, Misty said with a bit of embarrassment. Misty, I knew we are friends, but don't you want to support Aoki? Cynthia asked. Aoki has disappeared to train alone, so we have nothing to do. So let us help you. Misty replied. Since I nearly defeated you once, I can do it again, Sabrina replied. Sabrina's words somehow infuriated Cynthia, but she had a point. Fine, you two can help me, but be ready, I wouldn't go easy on you both. It was the day of the finals. The entire stadium was packed with people from the league and other organizations. Even the Elite Four and Champion Alder came to watch the showdown. All of the participants of the Youth Cup were there too. The high-ranking and experienced trainers knew Cynthia stood no chance against Aoki, who hasn't lost a single Pokemon yet in the entire tournament. With a huge round of cheers and applause, Aoki and Cynthia were welcomed to the stadium where they would be fighting in the rock-type field. Hey, Cynthia! Let's make a deal, if you managed to even take down one of my Pokemon, I shall forfeit and fulfill your any wish, Aoki said out to Cynthia as his voice rang out through the entire stadium. And if I lose? Cynthia asked, amused. You shall fulfill one of my wishes, Aoki replied. Deal accepted, Cynthia said, releasing her team made of Weevil, Spiritomb, Braviary, Melodic, Elite rank Lucario, and Champion rank Garchomp. Cynthia had switched out her Umbreon for Braviary and Roserade for Weevil. This seemed more filling against the team Aoki had. The open announcement of this challenge made not only some people more excited but some laugh at Aoki's arrogance. Do you think he will ask Cynthia to date him? She is beautiful and strong, so he might ask her out, Sabrina asked Misty. No, it's something different. I know the look in his eyes, he is planning something for the future. Misty said. Back to the match. Aoki too released his team without waiting, which was made of Charizard, Salamence, Pidgeot, Nidoking, Clefable, and Victreebel. As soon as the battle started, Aoki's Pokemon didn't let Cynthia's Pokemon cooperate and directly went to attack. Charizard selected Melodic, Clefable selected Spiritomb, Nidoking selected Lucario for a rematch, Pidgeot went for Braviary, Salamence went for Weevil, and finally Victreebel went for Garchomp. For some time his starter was not in the spotlight, so to encourage him more, Aoki decided to face Cynthia in a starter-to-starter match. Aoki's choice made Cynthia confused since Salamence would be the best match against Garchomp, but what Aoki chose was a Victreebel. Hey, buddy! Remember the day of the Junior Cup when you single-handedly won the tournament? Let's repeat history with this match and show the world your power. A coat of dark aura wrapped around Victreebel as he brimmed with excitement. Let's go, Victreebel, use Bullet Seed. Dodge and use a flamethrower, Garchomp. Garchomp is said to have the speed of a jet plane, but despite having that speed, Victreebel's pinpoint Bullet Seed hit Garchomp's face. Ignoring the damage that was more than expected, Garchomp released a wave of flames from his mouth, but the ability Victreebel showed to dodge showed Cynthia. Victreebel with Aoki's commands moved as if he already knew where Garchomp was going to strike from. Garchomp flew towards Victreebel with insane speed, but before he would hit Victreebel, the ground broke as a solar beam emerged from the underground, hitting him in the stomach. The ground broke more as giant flowers started to emerge from the ground, each having solar beam condensed in them. Victreebel Solar Blade. At the same time, Victreebel's arms glowed in bright yellow light as he slashed them toward Garchomp, who somehow blocked the attack and got pushed back several meters. Without giving Garchomp time to rest, all the flowers used solar beams at Garchomp. Large explosions rang out as some of them missed while some hit Garchomp. The exchange continued with Victreebel getting multiple hits against Garchomp, but the latter could not get even a single hit on the former. Aoki's skill as a trainer shocked the world. In the earlier matches, his Pokemon just blasted the opponent with destructive moves without doing much, but this match was different. Aoki's coordination with Victreebel, his fast and accurate commands, and Victreebel's ability to follow them to the last world was something outstanding. Aoki made Cynthia's attention completely drawn to Garchomp, and as a result, her team suffered a huge loss. Charizard took down Melodic with a high-speed seismic toss, Pidgeot blasted Braviary with Hyper Beam, Salamence after a few minutes effortlessly took down Weevil. Clefable played with Spiritomb for a few minutes, then decided to end it. Meanwhile, Nidoking enjoyed his time with Lucario brawling and ended the match after everyone. Victreebel used Great Forest Emergers. As soon as Aoki commanded, almost the entire battlefield started to break apart as large vines started to grow to trap Garchomp. Garchomp use Outrage. Destroy everything to the ground. Garkomp roared as his dragon-type energy started going wild. Explosion after explosion rang out as Garkomp began destroying the forest with outrage, trying to find Victreebel. The rest of Aoki's Pokémon just watched from the sky with no intention to interfere. Victreebel used Wood Golem transformation. As soon as most of the forest was destroyed to the ground, something unexpected happened. A monster almost 7 meters tall made of wood emerged from the ground. It had 2 arms and stood with 2 legs. His arms and legs glowed with bright light as if coated with solar power. There were large flowers glowing on the back of the golem which were too charged with solar power. Slowly small flowers covered the entire body which started to glow too. This was Aoki's way to make Victreebel stronger. It was something never seen before. Even the Elite Four and Champion of Unova were gobsmacked. Seeing that the process was complete, Charizard and Clefalba used modified Sunny Day to create 2 miniature suns around Victreebel to keep charging the golem. No matter what stands in front of us, we must fight on Garkomp. Use Dragon Rush. Boom. A large explosion rang out as the golem's kick and Garkomp's Dragon Rush connected. Garkomp was thrown across the field while the golem's leg smashed into pieces but grew back immediately. Boom. Without giving Garkomp time to rest, the flowers on the golem's back shot out like laser, hitting Garkomp as he cried out in pain. Garkomp put out a last struggle and used his strongest hyper beam. Golem's entire body shined in a bright yellow light as a huge solar beam shot out from him toward Garkomp. Boom. Garkomp's hyper beam was completely suppressed, hitting Garkomp and sending him crashing down the stadium walls. The golem caught fire after releasing such large amount of energy, so Victreebel jumped out of it unharmed. All of Aoki's Pokémon landed and stood with Victreebel watching the destruction they caused. The match had ended. The entire stadium went silent for a second before erupting into roars. Cynthia froze in her place, unable to comprehend that she lost without even doing any damage to Aoki's team. Utter rage and humiliation filled her mind as all of her goals in life were now replaced with only one goal: defeat Aoki. Aoki Gunhildr had defeated Cynthia Shirana and had become the winner of the Youth Cup. Misty yelled with joy and hugged Sabrina. The people of Kanto jumped with joy and started celebrating Aoki's victory. Some could not contain their excitement and dashed down to the stadium for Aoki. This tournament was probably the best in the history of the Youth Cup and was going to stay for a while. Aoki's name would be going down in history as the winner of the 4th Youth Cup and as a trainer who didn't lose a single Pokémon throughout the event. Chapter 165, Rewards and Deals. The award ceremony started after 2 hours of break. The one to give out the prize was Chairman Charles Goodshow himself. Hundreds of cameras focused on Aoki Gunhildr as he walked up to the stage. That was a breathtaking performance, Professor Gunhildr. All of your battles gave me an adrenaline rush, reminding me of my younger days when I dreamed of crushing every trainer in front of me. I am sure that your battles would motivate trainers all over the world and dream higher. I expect great things from you. Goodshow said as he handed Aoki his trophy, his check of 10 million Poke Dollars, and the travel pass. There was a table on the stage that had multiple Pokemon eggs and Pokeballs with their labels. Aoki looked around the table and spotted one dark green egg with dark patches. I choose the Larvitar egg. Aoki could not let go of the opportunity to own a pseudo-legendary Pokemon. Coming in the second position was Cynthia Shirana. She received a check for 8 million Poke Dollars and a travel pass. Cynthia left the stage with the egg of Axew as her choice. Stephen Stone and Diantha together shared the third position. Both of them received a check for 6 million Poke Dollar and their travel pass. Stephen chose the Pokeball of Snorlax while Diantha chose Absol. All 4 trainers went through some interviews and were asked to give out some tips to aspiring trainers. First of all, let me congratulate you two on your success, League Officer Alfred said to Aoki and Sabrina sitting in front of him. A champion-level totem Alakazam stood beside Alfred. Thanks for making the Kanto region proud, Aoki. Kanto is my home, of course, I will make Kanto proud. This is just the start, I am going to achieve something that people can only dream of, Aoki said confidently. Haha. I love your confidence. So let me ask you one thing, if one day you became the champion of the Kanto region, what would you do? Alfred asked. Before anything else, I am a trainer. I would not stop my adventures and exploration even if I became the champion. Becoming the champion is not enough for me, I dream of becoming the strongest trainer in the entire world, Aoki replied. That's the answer I expected. So, let me offer you a deal. We shall give you a research lab and researchers to work for you. Moreover, we shall promote any research or products you come up with free of cost. We shall be exempt from doing most of the champion responsibilities if you manage to defeat Lance. The exemption includes not doing paperwork and traveling anywhere as long as you can return in time of emergencies. In return, I want some things from you. The first is to become the face of Kanto. You must defeat Lance and become the champion. For the past few years, Kanto has been going down in reputation, but I want Kanto to reclaim its title as the strongest region. I want you to sign an agreement that you shall stay loyal to the Kanto region and never change your nationality. Lastly, I want you to release some of your secrets to the League. I am not asking for the entire, as I know that makes you unique. We want some generalized training methods. Alfred slid the contract towards Aoki to read. Let me give you a personal gift. Alfred looked at Alakazam, whose eyes glowed as a blue egg inside an incubator appeared on the table. This is a Dratini egg that belongs to a champion-level Drago Knight. Aoki narrowed his eyes, seeing everything in front of him. What is your true objective, Mr. Alfred? Aren't you becoming too generous? Aoki asked. Like you, Aoki, I also have dreams. I wish to become the head of the Kanto League Alliance and need support. You shall become a part of my faction and become my ladder to success. The current Kanto League Alliance is too soft and useless to develop. Due to negligence, cults are arising everywhere, spreading nothing but a nuisance and public harm. I can't allow that. I can't stand other regions surpassing us, so after I become the chairman, I wish to make Kanto the greatest again. Alfred said, spreading out his arms. Aoki could feel no malicious intent from him and knew Alfred was serious. Fine then, I accept the deal. I shall help you become the head of the Kanto League Alliance while you support me in return. Aoki said after thinking for a few minutes. He signed the contract and shook hands with Alfred. With the addition of a Drago Knight and Tyranitar to his already monstrous team, Alfred can't imagine how strong Aoki would become. Sorry for neglecting you till now, Sabrina, let's get to you now. I have a deal for you too. We shall forget your involvement with Team Rocket and past incidents you were related to, Alfred said. Seeing that Aoki have no reaction, Alfred continued. We can even let you a free pass to travel anywhere for any duration while still being a gym leader. In return, you must join my faction like Aoki and become strong enough to occupy the position of one of the Elite Fours. I don't want you to dirty your hands like your earlier work. I want you to become a pillar for Kanto's future and spread out your influence all over the world. What do you say? Sabrina thought for a few seconds and agreed to the deal. In a different room, Misty and Agatha were having a discussion. Misty was surprised to hear that Agatha and her father had a history. Apparently during his early 20s, when Misty's father David was not yet a gym leader, he pestered Agatha to a degree that she had to personally train him till he became a gym leader. I have an offer for you, Misty. Since I am near to retiring, I must choose a successor to whom I can pass on my knowledge. I want you to become my disciple. Misty was shocked after hearing that. But why me? Sabrina is a lot stronger and more talented than me. Sabrina and you are different, as if now Sabrina can grow on her own, but without someone's help your growth will stop here. I have heard about you since you were a child of David and know about your character very well. You are good at copying to become better, but you can't get past that. Even now, after analyzing all of your battles, it's a slightly changed version and weaker versions of moves and strategies Aoki uses. What makes you different from Sabrina is your individuality. If this goes on, you can never reach a great height and remain as his shadow. If you become my disciple, I shall make you find your individuality and make you the future Elite Four of the Kanto region. But remember, everything comes with a price. You have to leave Aoki's shadow and become your own self, so you can't be his travel companion anymore. For the next few years, you shall abandon your current lifestyle. Travel with me and stray with me till your training ends. I need some time to think, Misty said. The flight for Kanto is tomorrow evening, you have to answer me by then. Chapter 166, Farewell. What do you think, Alakazam? Alfred asked his Pokémon. Those papers you made him sign, most of them were fake, right? Alakazam said. Yes, only the one with nationality was genuine. I have no wish to know how he got that stronger or want to know his secrets. If he shares his secrets, that's well and good, but if he doesn't, I don't care. Even with you on my side, I don't wish to bite more than what I can chew. Alfred said to Alakazam. Right, that boy is smart, he must have known that most of them were fake, Alakazam said. I wouldn't have tried to bring him to my side if he was dumb. I used some of my underworld channels to find out some information that is not available to the public. The current Ice-type Elite Four Lorelei is Alfred's daughter. Sabrina said. So he already has a significant piece in his hands, Aoki said. Are you really going to reveal your secrets? Sabrina asked while walking beside Aoki. I will not, I am not an idiot. Alfred knows that too, that is why he never specified what secrets I have to reveal. The contract was mainly for show. Since he wants to use me for his goals, I might use him for my benefit too. Aoki said. I would still be a bit careful against him. That man had the power to make Team Rocket go purely a business organization for a while, so Giovanni started to shift his operations to Johto. Since he knows about your background, he might use your parents too, Sabrina said. You don't have to worry about my parents, Professor Oak's Pokemon are always keeping an eye on them. Aoki said. So what are you going to do now with your freedom? Aoki asked. I have started to take a liking to you, so I am thinking about accompanying you on your journey for a while. I can become your real girlfriend too if you want, Sabinra said. This time her emotions were genuine. I would not mind if a beauty as you joined me. I don't know if you are being genuine or trying to deceive me with sweet talk again, Sabrina said, raising her eyebrows. You would know in the future if I am serious or not, Aoki said, opening the door to this room. Inside he found Misty in a serious mood. Seeing that Aoki and Sabrina were here, Misty told them about her conversation with Agatha. Why are you sad? It's a wonderful opportunity for you. She will help you develop what you lack to grow, Aoki said. But I can't travel with you anymore. Misty exclaimed. She only said that you can't travel with me. She didn't say that you can't contact me. We can call each other, or better, I can come to visit you regularly. As long as I don't use my Pokemon, what's the problem? That is not the reason I am sad, I know I can meet you when I want. Without me, who would protect you from all the thirsty girls? I know that you will go out with someone I don't approve of, but I don't trust other girls. I don't want them to pounce on you. Aoki's eyebrows twitched hearing Misty's reasons. You don't have to worry about that. I am joining him as his travel companion, Sabrina said. Misty's eyes became bloodshot as she grabbed Sabrina's shoulder, sending a chill down her spine. I give you the responsibility of keeping girls away from him. I will hunt you down if I find he is with someone I don't approve. Why yes, Sabrina replied. She had never seen Misty like that. So you will take Agatha's offer, right? Aoki asked. Yes, I will accept her offer. I talked with my father and he said that it would be a grave mistake if I refused Agatha's offer, since he knew how good a teacher she was, being her former student. Since she is even a stronger psychic than me, she would be a great help since almost half of your Pokemon can use psychic abilities, Sabrina said. Now then, I need my parting gift. Misty said as she started to take off her clothes. I think I should leave, you two can have the night. Sabrina tried to leave, but Misty held her hand tightly. You will join. Bulletin, but I am a virgin, I don't have any experience. Sabrina panicked as her face started to turn red. Doesn't matter, I will make sure you learn everything and do your role as a travel companion properly, Misty said with a tone as if saying refusal was not an option. Aoki showed Sabrina the world of pleasure. Next day, Aoki left his room with exhausted Misty and Sabrina still sleeping to get some work done. So you are leaving, Aoki said to Cynthia at the airport. I have new goals to fulfill, I don't have time to waste, Cynthia said with a smile. Although you are smiling, inside you hate me, right? Aoki asked. You are right, I hate you and wish to punch you in the face. I considered myself to be the strongest trainer in my generation, even gym leaders stood no chance, but seems like I was wrong. Someone had to break my delusion and it had to be you, so I hate you for that. I had gotten used to things going in my way, but when I saw you improve to this degree in such a short period of time, my pride was hurt. But I am thankful to you too for reawakening my desire to improve again. The next time we meet, I shall be the champion of Sinnoh. You are my rival, remember that, Aoki, don't let anyone defeat you before I do. Cynthia walked off without looking back. Seems like she is taking it more seriously than I thought. Cynthia would eventually become the champion of the Sinnoh region, but seems like Aoki fastened the time. This event served as a great eye-opener for Cynthia. From getting nearly defeated by Sabrina to getting completely crushed by Aoki, Cynthia had a lot to improve. Ah, did she reject you? Don't worry, follow my tips and every girl will be ready to date you. Wallace said, stepping beside Aoki with a smirk. You are the last person I want to hear from that. You can't even talk to women properly, to the level that even grandmas refuse to talk to you, Aoki replied, making Wallace's smirk drop. Woo. Burn. Phoebe almost lost her mind with laughter. Damn! That was brutal, Steven replied, controlling his laughter aside. With some more roasts and laughter, the conversation came to the main topic. You guys are leaving too? Aoki asked. Yes, we have a flight now. I have some business deals to take care of. Wallace has his gym duties and Phoebe has not yet collected her badges yet. I and Wallace would participate next year in the Pokemon League. You guys are leaving too, right? Steven asked. Yes, we will leave in the evening. Although I don't have any hurry, Agatha wants to leave today. I am thinking about going to Hone after Pokemon League, so I will be depending on you, Steven, to show me around, Aoki said. Don't worry about it. I will show you the best places in Hone, Steven replied. And I will show you all the mountains filled with ghost Pokemon and beautiful beaches, Phoebe said. Sure. Aoki decided to meet with all his friends that he made at the event and said goodbye to them with a promise to meet them later. After a long flight back, Aoki, Sabrina, Misty, and Agatha were back in Fuchsia City at midnight, where they were welcomed with a huge celebration from League members. The next morning, everyone gathered for their farewell. So, it's farewell for now then, Misty said with teary eyes. Misty would be leaving with Agatha for her training for the upcoming Pokemon League. Aoki gave her a long hug and shared an intimate kiss and said goodbye. Sabrina also gave Misty a hug. Although Sabrina would be there, Aoki would be lonely without Misty. Next time we meet, I will show you a new version of myself. That's a promise, Misty said as Agatha teleported both of them, leaving Aoki and Sabrina there. Where to then? Sabrina asked. Seafoam Islands. Let's give the ice bird Articuno a visit. Chapter 167, Seafoam Islands. A week later, the result and clips of the Youth Cup were released all over Kanto, setting off a storm. Aoki's popularity reached the skies. The clips of his monstrous Pokemon and them destroying their opponents set a new wave of excitement. Victreebel became a fan-favorite Pokemon all over Kanto as new trainers began to search for Bellsprouts to train, while people with Victreebel began giving them more attention to one day become like Aoki. When it was revealed that Aoki was going to be participating in the Kanto League this year, a lot of trainers decided to withdraw from the event in fear of facing such a monster. Sabrina was already famous, but her fan following increased even more. Misty gained a new fan following from her matches. Somewhere in Orange Town, Professor Oak and his team of researchers sat in Aoki's father's restaurant and watched all the highlights with Aoki's parents. Aoki's parents jumped joyfully seeing their son's success, while Oak could not wait to meet Aoki's Pokemon. In Safin City, Kong Gaiun was watching the highlights with pride when a new person entered the room. Kong Gaiun looked at the person and had a wide smile. You finally remember your teacher Asmodeus. In Flannery City, Alex and Jill watched the highlights and took notes to improve themselves. Ash, who was staying on Cinnabar Island, used the matches to motivate himself for the upcoming Pokemon League. Susie from her home watched Aoki with a smile while brushing the fur of her 9 tails. In Viridian City, Giovanni and 2 other executives of Team Rocket watched the footage with not-so-happy expressions. I hope he stays neutral and doesn't go his way becoming a social justice warrior, Ariana said. Aoki joined Alfred's faction. I don't think we will be having any problem unless we confront him, Emily said. Kanto League would be trying to promote Aoki to the champion position. Lance was never their choice since he is from Johto, Ariana said. I have known Alfred since we were children. His methods are radical, but they give results. If he becomes the chairman after this, it's undeniable that Kanto would be going through a new change. Be ready, Team Rocket would be getting busy in the future. Giovanni said. In Cerulean City, Misty's family was proud of Misty for reaching such a level. The current Misty and her from a year ago appeared to be completely different people. Aoki's influence on Misty's life changed everything. While the entire Kanto was talking about Aoki, he was sitting by a pool on a cruise ship. Evie was curled up in a ball and sleeping on his lap as Aoki stroked her soft fur. Sabrina too beside him in a bikini, enjoying the warm sun rays. Although she would have never worn such clothes that showed so much skin, she had to give in to Aoki's persuasion. It was undeniable that intimate time with Aoki had changed something within her. Currently, they were on a 7-day cruise trip to see the Seafoam Islands. Aoki decided to use the free travel pass he received as a prize. Gyarados was in the ocean following them and fighting every worthy opponent he could find. In the past few days, his older Pokemon do their regular training while Aoki solely focused on the new ones since all of them reached the intermediate stage. Since they were exposed to Dark Aura more than Aoki's older Pokemon, the new ones became stronger after reaching the intermediate stage. Axio became the strongest of the four, followed by Abra, Trapinch, and lastly Eevee. Axio's hatred for Aoki was gone and replaced with respect. He developed a healthy rivalry with the others of his age. All of his peers were talented, so if he slacked off he would be surpassed, which he would not allow with his dragon pride. Axio's goal was Darkrai, who he had pledged to surpass one day. Abra always made sure to train very hard since he got to sleep after that, while Eevee wanted to become strong for Aoki. Trapinch had no such goals, he trained and fought because he had fun out of it. He took pleasure in pranking others and making others laugh. Ghastly was his best friend and partner in crime. His older Pokémon made sure to train the disciples they took properly. Out of all the Pokémon Aoki caught in the Safari Zone, the Chansey squad trained by Clefable and Ghastly trained by Darkrai showed the best results. Darkrai's experience paired with Aoki's training methods gave Ghastly the best training environment. If things go on like this, Aoki would include Ghastly in his second team too. Aoki always kept the Dratini egg and Larvitar egg close to him and enriched them with dark aura. He was sure that there would be some mutation that would make them stronger than the normal species, so he could not wait for them to hatch. Darkrai on some occasions let the eggs absorb some energy of chaos to develop early resistance and more mutations. Salamence and Charizard too regularly let Dratini's egg absorb their dragon-type energy for proper growth. Salamence seemed more enthusiastic since he wanted to see how Aoki felt when Bagon hadn't hatched yet. Nidking was mostly responsible for feeding ground-type energy to Larvitar's egg. Before coming on the trip, Aoki had brought some very expensive fossil oils that can be applied on the eggs of rock and ground-type Pokémon to make them healthier. Seafoam Islands are one of the most beautiful as well as one of the most dangerous places in Kanto. It is made up of a group of islands with varying distances from each other. The strange thing about these islands is that all of them have different climates that don't change throughout the year. Most of the islands have become tourist spots for their beautiful forest, beaches, waterfalls, etc. But the islands to the south are considered forbidden regions due to their danger, as they are always covered in a snowstorm. They have situated a respectable distance so they don't affect the resort islands in any form. The water currents around the islands are very strong, and moreover, the area around the island has one of the largest nests of Gyarados who hate intruders. The southernmost island, which is the largest and has the stronger storms, is said to be the next of the legendary birds Articuno. Many trainers went in search of the legendary Articuno but lost their lives before they could even reach the interior of the islands. The cruise ship traced across all the tourist islands with Aoki and Sabrina visiting all of them. One island had a very beautiful beach with forests full of tasty fruits. One island had different types of waterfalls. Some were underwater, some had different colors of water, and some flowed in reverse directions. One had a dormant volcano with a lot of wall paintings. There were tribal communities living on this island who didn't want to embrace the modern world and liked living in their traditional community. The last tourist island was covered with snow. Aoki for the first time tried skiing and ice shaking and got hang of it pretty soon, while Sabrina kept falling down till she used her psychic powers. The trip brought Aoki and Sabrina closer and spent a lot of intimate time together. Sabrina was now actually interested in Aoki and genuinely wanted to be with him. Aoki too enjoyed her company, so made their relationship official. Misty was updated about everything, which made her jealous of Sabrina, so Aoki promised her the same trip during her vacation from training. Currently Misty was staying on Agatha's island, where she was trained in Agatha's methods. Phew! Sabrina held Charizard closer as he flew towards the last and the most dangerous island of Seafoam Islands. She was keeping the ice off her with her psychic powers, but her powers were ineffective against the negative temperature. The cruise ship would not go further, they had to fly towards the last islands. Aoki was sitting on Salamence, who was using a fire coat to protect against the ice storm they were going through. His red Gyarados was swimming continuously, fighting the hordes of Gyarados under the frozen layer of water. Pidgeot and Aerodactyl too were flying beside, trying their best to survive the bone-freezing temperature. Clefable was following behind them with gravity and psychic power, but was in a better condition. They could feel their wings freezing, but they had to keep going. As they got closer to the islands, the hailstorm increased even more, so Aoki jumped on Charizard's back and sat tightly hugging Sabrina while using Dark Aura. Whether it was day or not, nothing was clear anymore. Charizard, Salamence, Clefable, use fire to create a way, Aoki shouted. You should have stayed back in the resort. You wouldn't be able to survive on the island like this, Aoki said to Sabrina. I am going, I need to improve my psychic abilities and make my Pokémon stronger. Harsher the environment, the better. I have just started to live a stressful life with you, I can't afford to lose it, Sabrina said while still shivering. Aoki didn't reply but took out more warm clothes from his bag and wrapped them around Sabrina. Darkrai, create a flame barrier around us. Darkrai nodded and created a circular barrier of flames around Aoki and Sabrina. Finally, after flying for some more time, they landed on the island, which was even colder. Aoki called back Gyarados and sent Darkrai a place to camp. He had plans to stay in this freezing temperature for a few days to train. Although it was still evening according to the clock, the sunlight was completely black, making it complete darkness on the island. Darkrai came back after a few minutes and led them toward a large cave that he found. Most of Aoki's Pokémon wanted to explore the island, so Aoki let them leave. Since Darkrai could connect with everyone's mind, he would know if someone was in danger. The one who stayed in the cave was Clefable and Darkrai. Are you sure you can find Articuno here? Sabrina said, rubbing her hands. If Articuno can be found anywhere in Kanto, it's here. But in current conditions, it's impossible to explore the island. Tomorrow I will try to clear the weather by destroying the clouds. The next morning, all of Aoki's flying Pokémon started to destroy the storm clouds, returning the visibility to the environment. Although the temperature was still low alongside freezing wind, at least the island was now traversable. With visibility returned, the first thing Aoki saw was a tall mountain reaching the clouds. That would be his target after he completed his training. Aoki called out all his Pokémon and started their training in the negative temperature weather. Some of the training methods even included swimming in the ice-cold water, which was especially difficult for Salamence and Victreebel. Abra, Axew, Eevee, and Trapinch were made to train in harsh conditions too. Sabrina too decided to train her Pokémon in hard weather after asking Aoki for tips. For the next 7 days, the cycle continued with Aoki slowly exploring the island. The harsh environment increased every Pokémon's tolerance to the cold. Aoki made Salamence and Axew train the hardest and made them develop resistance to the ice to a degree. As the training ended for now, intermediate rank Ghastly was now in his official team alongside Abra, Axew, Eevee, and Trapinch. While exploring, Aoki found various Pokémon that didn't belong to the Kanto region living on the island, like the Mamoswine family, Walrein family, and Snowrunt family, alongside rare species like Jinx and Delibird. Both the evolution lines of Snowrunt, being Froslass and Glally, were present on the island, so Aoki figured there must have Dawnstone on this island too. Aoki decided to catch on Swinub to get Mamoswine and one Snowrunt to get Froslass. He wanted to research about them but didn't really feel like adding them to his team. Sabrina decided to catch one Jinx for herself due to its psychic typing. Gyarados, while exploring the water, informed Aoki that one waterline entered the mountain, so Aoki and Sabrina decided to take that route to enter the mountain. Like MT Moon, which was covered in darkness, this mountain was surprisingly different. There were glowing blue stones all over the path, giving a clear picture of the path. Although the sight of glowing ice was beautiful, the temperature inside was even lower. Are these never melt ice? Sabrina asked. Yes, you are right. We can take some with us. The lower floors only had Pokémon up to master rank, so Aoki made his new team fight every wild Pokémon on the way. As they went above, the level of wild Pokémon improved, putting pressure on them. Aoki made his second team even fight elite level Pokémon while they worked together to take them down. It took them several days to reach the top of the mountain as Aoki was researching the ecosystem there. Even in this freezing cold, there was no shortage of vegetation. The species of plants found inside the mountain could only survive in negative temperatures and would die out in warmer areas. Unlike normal ice-type Pokémon, the Pokémon found here had adapted to live in extremely cold by various means, by either learning to create remedies against the cold or evolving to grow an extra layer of fat or large fur. For example, the hair found on Mamoswine here was larger and denser than the one outside or in any other place. Just like any other wild Pokémon area, territorial wars were common here too. Pokémon hunted other Pokémon as a source of food, as it was impossible for them to just survive on plants. As annoying as it sounds, there was the Zubat family there too, who had adapted to live there by growing large white fur. Aoki thought of taking a Zubat with him but decided against it, rather decided to let Darkrai leave a teleportation marker at the top. Darkrai also took a part of the coldest region and assimilated it into his dimension for the new ice Pokémon Aoki caught. Finally, after several days of travel, Aoki reached the top and immediately felt the changes in the environment. Aoki had entered a legendary domain. The floor looked like an ice chamber with a lot of space, with the roof opening to the sky. The temperature fell again, followed by snowfall, which Aoki didn't see before inside the cave. As he went deeper into the last chamber, the sunlight hit his face but it had no warmth. In front of him was a giant frozen nest, but instead of any Pokémon, it just had a glowing blue feather. As soon as Aoki touched the feather, he heard a high-pitched noise as he looked up to see the shadow of a bird covering the roof. The legendary bird of Kanto, Articuno, was here. Chapter 168, The Legendary Bird Articuno. Sabrina's still and slow-paced life gained momentum after she quit Team Rocket. From fighting a man-made legendary Pokémon to participating in one of the most reputed events. She learned about training methods that she had never thought about and visiting places that she only wished to visit if dreamed of in her shacked life. Staying around Aoki gave her a new thrill in life as she felt like she could let herself free without always being cautious, as he proved to be a sense of security. Today was one such day where everything she knew was going to be shattered again. A strange feeling of excitement filled Sabrina as she watched the ring on Aoki's finger glow in a bright light. A similar stone that was attached to the bracelet in Charizard's arm glowed in a similar light as Sabrina with her psychic power could see red lines connect the two stones. Sabrina's eyes glowed purple as she tried to absorb as much as she could from what she was witnessing. Aoki challenged the legendary birds Articuno in his own domain. Articuno accepted Aoki's challenge as he exerted his champion-level pressure. If Aoki won, Articuno shall obey Aoki, if he loses, Aoki shall face the wrath of intruding into the domain of the legendary. Get ready, Charizard, we are taking an important step toward becoming the world's strongest. Aoki said as the keystone on his ring started glowing. Burn your enemies to ashes, Charizard. Mega Evolution. The energy of primal evolution of Dark Aura filled every cell of Charizard as his form changed to a black dragon whose champion level. The temperature of the cave immediately started going up as purple flames enveloped Charizard. The dragon and fire-type energy within Mega Charizard reached a perfect harmony, giving rise to purple flames that had both their properties and lowering each other's weakness. Sabrina became shocked to see the new form of Charizard. Seeing a Pokémon gain a new evolution line was different from seeing a Pokémon go beyond its third evolution stage was different. It was proven to be impossible by the researchers, but she was witnessing it in front of her. Sabrina had a ton of questions, but it was not the right time for questions. Articuno released a cry recognizing Mega Charizard as a worthy opponent and applied multiple boosts like Tailwind, Snowscape, Light Screen, and Reflect. A strong hailstorm started inside the cave as Articuno waved his wings, almost lowering the visibility to zero as the temperature began to decrease again. Boom! Articuno's champion-level heavily compressed ice beam clashed with Charizard's flamethrower, creating an explosion. Before Charizard's next attack can connect, Articuno disappears into the snow. This action is repeated again as Articuno seems to be perfectly blended into the ice storm inside the cave and attacks Charizard from any direction. Aoki let out Salamence and climbed on his back to get out of the cave while he let Sabrina ride on Pidgeot. Sabrina didn't utter a word and watched every second of the battle with utmost focus, not willing to miss even a single moment. Turn the cave into a furnace, Charizard, use Blast Burn and Heat Waves. Boom! Like an erupting volcano, a pillar of purple flames rose from Articuno's lair into the sky as Articuno could be seen coming out of the pillar. Articuno's body was covered in Charizard's purple flames, which were immediately suppressed and replaced by a coating of ice. Charizard followed Articuno with a miniature sun floating beside him. The island completely went silent as almost all Pokémon looked at the sky to witness the battle between Charizard and Articuno. Don't let him gain an edge, use Flame Claws. Large claws of flames appeared around Charizard's hands as he flew towards Articuno. Articuno waved his wings as large shards of ice were launched at Charizard like missiles. Charizard became a ball of purple flames as flew towards Articuno and slashed down his flame claws. But Articuno burst into mist as an attack came from above that Charizard could not react. Harden your neck, Charizard, use Flame Shockwave. Articuno's sharp claw stabbed into Charizard's neck, but Charizard instantly condensed energy around his neck, stopping Articuno's claws, but was not completely successful. Charizard gritted his teeth with pain as Articuno applied more power. Charizard released a blast of fire-type energy, repelling Articuno away from him. Articuno went straight for the kill. Articuno's speed and reaction speed is more than I expected. Its ability to dodge attack is outstanding. Aoki thought. Charizard could feel chilling cold spreading through his bones from the wound on his neck, but it immediately started healing as the effect of Dark Aura kicked in. Boom! A sphere of ice-type energy formed around Articuno and exploded, releasing a huge amount of chilling mist. Articuno disappeared again from Charizard's senses and appeared near the clouds as a storm covered the entire island. A hailstorm that was more severe than the time Aoki entered the island was started by Articuno. Mega Charizard increased his body temperature as the purple flames around the body started to go wild. Seeing that Articuno didn't attack yet, Aoki made Charizard use Belly Drum and Dragon Dance to increase his speed and attack power. Just as Charizard completed booting his attack, he used a flamethrower at full power in front of him as an ice beam stronger than anything he had ever faced before clashed with his attack. This time Charizard lost the confrontation as he began falling but balanced himself midway. This outcome was expected as Aoki was fighting a champion-level legendary even if it was a third-rate legendary. The hailstorm set up by Articuno had given Artiunco a boost in power and evasiveness. Aoki could use his other Pokémon to deal with Articuno together, but Aoki's main objective was not to just capture Articuno but to gain experience too. This fight would let both Aoki and Charizard have crucial experiences while giving spectators like Sabrina, Pidgeot, and Salamence motivation. Seeing that the current way of battle was not working, Aoki decided to change his approach. Till now, he was only giving commands from a distance, but with Articuno could not be defeated like that even with Mega Charizard's power. Let's go Salamence, fly close to Charizard. I need to read the battlefield better. Salamence flew beside Charizard as all three of them began looking for Articuno, who perfectly blended with the environment. There. Aoki pointed in a direction making Charizard use Fire Blast. His guess was right as Charizard's Fire Blast was met with an equally strong Ice-type attack. Increase your flying speed Charizard, don't let Articuno disappear again. Using all of his physical strength in his wings, Charizard shot toward Articuno, re-releasing waves upon waves of flames. Clang! Articuno's blade-like wings clashed with Charizard's claws as both Pokémon began fighting in close combat. In the Mega Evolution state, both Aoki and Charizard had their minds connected to a level that they would read each other's thoughts and see a glimpse of what each of them was seeing. Aoki used this power to read Articuno's movements along with Charizard to get some strong hits on Articuno. As the battle progressed, Aoki noticed something. Every time Articuno used a strong attack, it went into defensive mode and disappeared. This meant that Articuno needed time to charge those attacks and would be vulnerable for a short amount of time. It's been some time since Articuno used a strong attack, so the next one coming would be devastating. Through their link, Charizard knew what Aoki was thinking about and began conserving his power. Just as Aoki guessed, the air grew even colder as the air started freezing. Articuno used Blizzard and it was stronger than anything Aoki had ever faced. Darkrai appeared beside Aoki and created a strong psychic barrier to protect him. Charizard immediately condensed a huge amount of flames and became a spiral of flames as he used Flare Flits. As this time Charizard was prepared, he could face the blizzard without taking too much damage. Just as Aoki expected, Articuno disappeared again, but this time was prepared too, and immediately found Articuno by analyzing Articuno's blending pattern. Boom! Charizard's Hyper Beam hit Articuno in the chest during his short vulnerability. Not giving Articuno time to rest, Charizard used multiple Fire Blasts with all of them connecting, dealing huge damage to Articuno. Articuno became stunned for a moment, giving Charizard a chance to reach Articuno. Charizard used a Flame Uppercut following but a Tail Slam mid-air. Not letting Articuno any chance, Charizard grabbed Articuno by the neck and stabbed his nails into his neck, drawing out blood. Got you, bitch! Charizard roared. Articuno struggled and began releasing Ice-type attacks from his body, but Charizard did the same, suppressing the ice. Charizard smirked and used a point-blank Fire Blast on Articuno's face. End it Charizard, use Seismic Toss. Charizard smirked and flew even higher as he removed his hand from Articuno's neck to grab his legs. Using his entire strength with the added power of momentum and rotation, Charizard threw Articuno toward the ground. If that was not enough, Charizard used Dragon Rush mid-air, making Articuno slam to the ground and forming a huge crater, unable to move anymore. Articuno barely managed to keep his consciousness and released a cry of defeat before losing consciousness. Seeing that Articuno was defeated, Charizard flew down and released a roar of victory with one of his feet on Articuno as his Mega Evolution came off. Charizard almost fell to the floor as the exhaustion and the backlash from Mega Evolution came rushing all together, but he balanced himself pretty quickly due to the effect of Dark Aura. Good job Charizard, you can take some rest, Aoki called back Charizard to his Pokeball. Aoki landed near Articuno and threw an Ultra Ball at Articuno, successfully catching it. You shall be by my side when I reach the top of the world, Articuno. Chapter 169, Cinnabar Island. The hailstorm subsided after Articuno was captured. What was that evolution? Sabrina asked, still a bit shocked after witnessing the battle. It is called Mega Evolution. It is something that existed in the world thousands of years ago. It's a power that can let a Pokémon temporarily evolve beyond their normal evolution. Aoki slowly explained Sabrina everything while he let his Clefable and Chansey squad heal Articuno and Charizard. Since Aoki was still compiling data on Mega Evolution, it would take some time for him to introduce this to the real world. Sabrina was very excited to hear about Mega Evolution and wanted to try Mega Evolution for herself. Since Sabrina knew about Mega Evolution, he would try using Sabrina as a subject to see if it was different. He had the Mega Stone for Alakazam, so he didn't have to go search for a Mega Stone. Now that Articuno was captured, it was time to leave the island. Since it was already nearly evening, they decided to leave the next morning. During the nighttime, Aoki went back into the mountain to collect some high-quality Dawn Stones and Ice Stones that he could not collect earlier due to the fight. There was an abundance of those in Articuno's lair, so Aoki took as much as he wanted. Aoki's main team surrounded Articuno while the second team stood a bit far from Articuno. Darkrai, wake him up! Articuno slowly opened his eyes and found himself in a forest. The first thing he saw was a figure of Aoki with Charizard behind him. Articuno didn't take any defensive posture because a monster was standing beside him. He knew that he would be dead before he could retaliate, so he wouldn't try. Articuno looked into Aoki's eyes with acceptance, saying that he was ready to accept his team since he was defeated. Aoki walked up to Articuno and put his aura-coated hands on Articuno's head. You will be my companion from now on. I shall make you stronger than ever and show you the world from the peak. You just have to trust me. Articuno felt a strange sense of relief from Aoki's palm. All these Pokémon here will be your family from now on. Treat them with love and respect. The next morning, with all preparations done, Aoki and Sabrina set out for Cinnabar Island. As usual, Aoki let Gyarados follow them through the ocean at his own pace while Aoki and Sabrina flew on the back of Articuno. Articuno's cold back gave a comfortable feeling against the hot sun overhead. Aoki let Sabrina borrow his Keystone and Alakazite to get familiar with it. During the few hours Articuno spent with Aoki's Pokémon, he liked Pidgeot the most. Pidgeot gave out that noble feeling of an empress due to her having a royal gene that Articuno liked a lot. Like all other Pokémon, Articuno had a strong personality trait, which was arrogance. Due to being a legendary or superior species, she saw most of Aoki's Pokémon as inferior species to her except Pidgeot, Charizard, Salamence, and Darkrai. Minutes after opening his eyes, Articuno learned that Darkrai was the strongest there and made a note not to mess with him. Articuno also met Celebi, who was very happy to meet Articuno since he was similar to her friend Zapdos. Celebi told Articuno how Aoki helped Zapdos, which increased the image of Aoki for Articuno. Although Moltres, Zapdos, and Articuno were always meant to fight, knowing that Zapdos had left an offspring despite the extremely low birth rate made Articuno happy. Since Articuno was now fighting with Aoki, Darkrai decided to inform them about the events till now and what Articuno would be facing in the future. Legendary Pokémon are born with a responsibility to maintain order. Since Aoki was walking on the same path to maintain balance, Articuno desired to follow even more. It took a few days for Aoki and Sabrina to reach Cinnabar Island as they stopped at multiple small islands. Cinnabar Island was the largest island in the southwest region of Kanto region. It was a famous tourist spot due to its beaches, hot springs, and volcanoes. Half of the islands are civilized while the other half is covered with dense grey forest and both active and dormant volcanoes. This area was home to a lot of fire-type Pokémon like the Arcanine tribe, Magmar tribe, and Rapidash tribe. Sometimes even the Charizard tribe can be found here, but they were very rare like the Magmar tribe. Apart from these, more tribes like the Rhyhorn tribe, Golem tribe, Sandslash tribe, Dugtrio tribe, Marowak tribe, and Onyx tribe. The island had an official fire-type gym led by Blaine. This gym was unique in the sense that the gym was hidden from the public eye. Only the trainer who had found the gym was allowed to fight Blaine and had to sign an agreement not to reveal the location of the gym. Lastly, the headquarters of the Archaeologist Association was present in Cinnabar Islands, where the revival of fossil Pokémon was also done. By the time Aoki and Sabrina reached Cinnabar Island, so they decided to rest for the day in a hotel. For the next 2 days, Aoki and Sabrina relaxed in different hot springs and hotels. There were hot springs for Pokémon too, so their Pokémon got to relax as well. In the original Kanto game, there was an abandoned research lab on Cinnabar Island where Mutwa was created. Aoki wanted to see the lab for himself, but Sabrina had no idea about it since the project Mutwa was kept top secret. Aoki asked around the town, but there was no information about the Pokémon mansion, so the most probable position of the research lab should be somewhere in the volcanic region. On the third day, Sabrina left for some information gathering, so Aoki left alone to see the Archaeologist Association. Entering the huge building gave Aoki flashbacks of the museum in Pewter City due to the similar design. It was expected as the museum was a part of the Archalicid Association. Aoki was immediately recognized at the reception and was warmly welcomed for a tour of the entire building but some senior researchers. The entire building was divided into various sections which Aoki looked at with interest. The first area he was taken to was an underground sanctuary where the Pokémon who was revived from fossils lived and interacted with researchers. After all their data was recorded, they were given to either Trainer, the Researcher Alliance, or the League Alliance. The next area was the place where the revival of fossils took place. There was large machinery that utilized the blue revival water. Aoki was told that there was a fresh new batch of similar machines that would get a discount. He took the offer and bought one revival machine. Aoki let out Clefable and asked her to teleport the machine to his lab for a show while Darkrai from the shadows put the machine into his dimension. The next area was the research labs where various experiments were conducted. Aoki spent a few hours discussing the researchers about their research while giving his opinions too. The Aerodactyl at the facility was very young so they didn't have any accurate reading on the behavior of an adult Aerodactyl. Aoki was happy to provide them with his data but at a price to which the researchers happily agreed. After going through some more areas they finally came to the commercial area. This place had fossils that could not be revived, evolution stones, and beautiful rocks found along with the fossils. Similar indeed. Aoki remembered that he bought a megastone from the Pewter City Museum and today the same thing happened again. There was one megastone and one keystone on display along with the other beautiful stones. Aoki immediately bought them with the excuse that he found them pretty. When he asked them where they were excavated from, he was told that they were found alongside an Aerodactyl fossil in the Grandpa Canyon. Aoki smiled hearing that information since the energy from the megastone matched with Aerodactyl. Aoki returned in the evening and handed Sabrina the new keystone in the form of a gold necklace. Sabrina didn't ask where he got that from and was delighted to have one for herself. She was ready to serve Aoki for the night in exchange for such a precious gift. I was searching for information about the gym for the entire day and found the location of the gym, Sabrina said. But there is a problem, the people who know gym leader Blaine said that he has been missing for a week. The last person Blaine talked to said that he was going to the volcanic region but hasn't returned since. Sabrina said. I was going to explore the volcanoes anyways, might as well search for our gym leader. Aoki gave a wide smile which sent a chill down Sabrina's spine. She knew what that smile meant, Aoki was going to throw his Pokémon into the lava. Chapter 170, Lava Training. Let's start, Aoki said as he started the machine to take energy readings. Sabrina stood in front of him with some wires attached to her body while Alakazam had some machines pointed at him. Alakazam held his megastone while Sabrina wore her keystone in the form of a necklace given to her by Aoki. Sabrina held her necklace and thought about her journey with Aloxum as a bright light enveloped Aloxum. Sabrina lost control over her psychic power as a huge amount of psychic power was absorbed by Alakazam. The light around Alakazam faded along with a shockwave of psychic energy revealing his new form. Mega Alakazam had a purple cloak wrapped around him while his mustache grew larger. The 2 spoons he had multiplied in number as they hovered around him. Aloxum's facial structure underwent some changes, the most noticeable being a red crystal on his forehead. His energy started rising from the beginning of elite rank and stopped at the peak of the elite stage. Sabrina and Mega Alakazam opened their eyes but both of them had their eyes turned red. Aoki. I know Darkrai, both of them lost their minds. Seems like not everyone can get perfect Mega Evolution the first time. Not even someone like Sabrina. Sabrina pointed her hand at Aoki as a ball of psychic energy shot toward Aoki but Aoki slapped it away coating his hand with a dark aura. The ball hit a large piece of rock and completely turned it into rebels. Her psychic power increased. Aoki glanced at the machine that showed that Sabrina's brain's readings were abnormal. Boom! Mega Alakazam used psychic at Aoki but it was destroyed by Darkrai's Nightshade. Darkrai used Dark Void and put them to sleep. I don't want my machines destroyed. Against Darkrai's hypnosis powers, Sabrina and Mega Alakazam showed no resistance and immediately fell asleep. As soon as Sabrina passed out, Mega Evolution was cancelled returning Aloxum back to normal. Aoki removed all the wires from Sabrina and started his analysis. Ugh! What happened? Sabrina woke up after a while in the hotel they were staying at. Sabrina remembered initiating Mega Evolution after which she lost consciousness. You lost your mind, Aoki replied handing her the clip. I had enough time to compile the data from the experiment so let me tell you what exactly happened. Mega Evolution connects the trainer and the Pokemon to a level that they start to share senses like vision and other powers like your psychic power. According to my calculations, a normal person suffers immense mental stress since their minds are invaded with a huge amount of information. But you are a psychic. Your perception is already higher than normal humans, but your mind is still limited to the human level. A sudden surge of psychic powers shared with you by Alakazam made you lose your mind. Since Alakazam's mind was connected to you on a deeper level, he too lost his mind alongside you. Sabrina became disappointed after hearing Aoki's analysis. So is there no way for me to use Mega Evolution? She asked. I never said you cannot use Mega Evolution, it's the opposite. Don't you feel that your psychic powers feel a bit stronger? Aoki asked. Now you say that. Sabrina used her powers to move various things around the room and found that she was having an easier time. You feel it, don't you? Your psychic powers became stronger. After comparing the data of my Pokemon and your Alakazam, I came to the conclusion that every time you use Mega Evolution, it pushes your Pokemon beyond their normal limits, which can either improve their strength significantly or degrade their strength if done improperly. In your case, your Mega Evolution was perfect, so both of you received powers, but you could not handle the power because of your current mind. So, for a psychic like you, you need to reach stage 0 if you want to use Mega Evolution perfectly. Take some rest for the next few days and train normally. You will try Mega Evolution after a few days again under my supervision. Are you going somewhere? Sabrina asked. I am leaving to train near the volcanoes. I will come back at night every day. You want to come? I have to refuse this offer. Unlike the cold, I can't handle heat very well and would melt in the volcanic region. Sabrina replied. Fine, then meet you at night, Aoki said, leaving for training. Now then, let's begin today's training session, Aoki said with a devil-like smile. All of Aoki's Pokemon, even the second team, stared blankly at the river of lava flowing in front of them. The environment was already making them feel like they were about to boil, and now Aoki wanted them to torture with lava. Although the old team was used to Aoki's torture training, the new team was not. The ice environment was already too much for them, and now it was too much. Don't look at me like that, I know not everyone can swim in lava. Victreebel would burn to death even after reaching champion rank. Aoki said, easing some tension. Except for Pidgeot, Victreebel, and Clefable, everyone in my first team would be going through lava training. As for you three, you would be going through heat-resistant training alongside the second team. Charizard was a fire-type Pokemon, so he could survive a few seconds in lava before it hurts him, so he had to increase his resistance. This training would help him increase the power of his flames, and his coating ability, and harden his skin. Salamence and Gyarados already had harder skin than Charizard, but they didn't have the ability as Charizard to survive in lava. To survive, they had to increase their coating ability significantly. The one who would be having the hardest time would be Articuno, since he was an ice-type Pokemon and lava was deadly for an ice type. But Aoki would not budge from his decision. In order to make Articuno's ice even stronger, he had to dive into lava. Moreover, Articuno was a legendary Pokemon. His potential in the squad was the highest in the squad alongside Darkrai. The first few days of training were hell for all the Pokemon. The Chansey squad was active 24x7 to heal everyone from burn damage, along with Aoki connecting Dark Aura to everyone. As time went on, all of them started to get adjusted and started to show improvements. After 7 days, Aoki stood at the top of the largest active volcano and looked down to see a pool of lava. This was the only volcano he hadn't explored yet. A master rank Magmar stood beside Aoki, chomping on some poke blocks. This Magmar was one of the Pokemon that Aoki had caught during his training in volcanoes. He would be becoming one of his research topics alongside Electabuzz, taking them to their final evolution. While training, Aoki explored the entire wildlife and came across a lot of Pokemon. One of them was the Ninetales tribe. Since Ninetales were known to have psychic powers, Aoki decided to catch a Vulpix for Sabrina. Aoki also came across a small Charizard tribe with about 10 members whose leader was thrashed by Aoki's Charizard. Aoki's Charizard could become the leader of the tribe. He had no interest in them. Although Aoki had no intentions of doing anything to the tribe leader gave Aoki a lot of high-grade fire stones to stay away from them. Alright guys, today is the last day of training. The one who stays the longest in the lava gets their favorite meal today. Aoki started the timer as Gyarados, Charizard, Darkrai, Salamence, Articuno, Nidoking and Clefable jumped into the lava. At the 30-minute mark, Nidoking emerged and was disappointed to see himself being the last. The second to emerge was Articuno at the 40-minute mark, followed by Curados. At the 1-hour mark, Clefable emerged, followed by Salam Ince. Darkrai came out at the 2-hour mark, but Charizard was still inside. Aoki could tell through his connection with Charizard that Charizard was still very deep into the volcano. At the 3-hour mark, Charizard finally came out of the volcano while holding a giant black rock with red vein-like marks all over it. Aoki sent some aura into the rock that Charizard brought and sensed something, presence of life. At the deepest end of the volcano, everything was molten except this rock. This rock was unharmed, so Charizard decided to bring it back. Darkrai touched the rock and estimated that it should be there for a long time. It feels more like an egg, Aoki said, observing the rock from all directions. You are right, it is an egg, Darkrai replied. Aoki ran his thoughts and began thinking about what Pokémon could be found at the bottom of the volcano. An egg like this can only belong to a legendary Pokémon. Pokémon like Reshiram, Moltres, and Entei came to mind, but Aoki didn't think they would be born from lava. The Pokémon that came to his mind were Volcanion and Heatran. Whatever it is, it's gonna be great. Suddenly Aoki now had 3 eggs to take care of, with Larvitar and Dratini Closeby being born. Darkrai, please put the egg in the lava area in your dimension, I will look into it later. Sabrina found the location. Let's go explore the research lab where Mutwa was created. Chapter 171, Lab Incident. Aoki returned to his hotel in the evening and found Sabrina already dressed up and ready to leave. After 7 days of constant practice, the presence of Sabrina had changed. Due to the constant overloading of her mind with psychic power and sharing her mind with Aloxum, her psychic powers received a big boost. Although she didn't reach stage 0 psychic like Agatha yet, Sabrina was close, and Aoki calculated it wouldn't take long for Sabrina to stage 0. Sabrina seemed to be happier after becoming strong, which was a good thing for Aoki. Since Sabrina was now able to control the power of Mega Evolution, Aoki decided to let her keep the Mega Stone for Alakazam since his Abra would take a while to reach his last stage. How did you find the location? Aoki asked. I used some favors from my ex-colleagues and searched every corner of the black market to find the location of the lab. A place like that cannot be made in a few days, so some people were aware of it being built. Thanks for your hard work, Sabrina. Don't mention it, you are already helping me more than I can repay you. The path to the research lab was very complicated. They entered a normal-looking house, entered the basement, which was the entrance of the black market. Aoki decided to shop for some psychic orbs and ground orbs for Abra and Trapinch. Eevee already had a normal orb that Aoki bought for her a few days. Axew had already access to dragon scales and dragon fangs that broke off Salam Ince while training, so Aoki didn't have to buy anything for Axew. After walking for a while, they entered a room that had a big pink ball floating in the air. This was a coordinate device that had coordinates for teleportation to various locations throughout the island. Psychic Pokémon can use this to teleport to locations that they had never been before. As soon as Alakazam touched the orb, multiple coordinations flashed within his mind. Sabrina gave some description of the specific location as Alakazam locked into that coordinate for teleportation. 3 of them disappeared and appeared in front of a big laboratory. The lab was black in color and looked like an ancient castle. Aoki remembered the castle from the Mutwa movie and realized that the lab in front of him was a miniature version of it. The location of the lab was within a giant underground chamber. Darkrai stood beside Aoki and informed them that there were no humans in the lab, but there were some Pokémon inside them. Aoki and Sabrina entered the lab with flashlights and found that all the things were in terrible condition. There were cracks all over the wall and most of the machines were broken. Mutwa's energy signature is all over the place, Darkrai said. Swish! A wild Rattata jumped on Aoki trying to bite him, but Darkrai caught him. Aoki looked at the Rattata properly and found that it was red in color, which he had never seen before. It has lost its mind, Sabrina said. So it's one of the test subjects. Aoki and Sabrina traveled from room to room looking for interesting they can find. There were a lot of Pokémon skulls that seemed to be modified versions of normal Pokémon. Aoki came across a lot of red colors Rattata who had completely lost their minds beyond help. As there was no food, they fed on each other. Aoki and both agreed that putting them out of misery would be the best, so Darkrai decided to painlessly put them to permanent sleep. Next, he came across a room that felt like a child's room with various broken toys and pictures. Searching the room, Sabrina found what appeared to be a journal. The journal was written by a man named Fuji who recorded her daughter's development from being born and stopped suddenly when she became 5. From the tone of the last few pages, it felt like his daughter passed away at age 5. Finally, Aoki entered the room, which appeared to be the main control room, with a lot of broken screens and computers and large blood stains. Human blood. There was a large broken tube at the center of the room with wires attached to it. It had the highest energy signature of Mutuo in the entire lab. Aoki slowly took them apart one by one and tried to find any working parts. He found multiple hard drives and tried connecting them to a spare laptop that he brought. Out of all the hard drives, only one of them worked. It had some research documents and 2 recorded videos. Aoki opened the documents and found that they only had data about some of the experiments but nothing significant that Aoki could put to use. Sabrina came near Aoki wanting to see what the videos were about. Both videos were recorded 6 months ago. The first video started with a scene where the lab was perfectly working. There were about 15 people in the room wearing lab coats indulging in various activities. Floating in the tube was a pink bipedal Pokemon with metal armor attached to its body. Mutuo, Sabrina muttered. The video continued for a few seconds before a person came in front of the camera. The man wore glasses and had long hair and a beard. My name is Professor Fuji and I am the lead researcher of Project Mutuo. Today we have reached the final stage of our experiment of creating a legendary Pokemon from the genes of the mythical Mew and various legendary Pokemon. From the direction we are going, the experiment is a success. Just in a month, Mutuo went from junior level to peak of elite level. We believe that it shall reach champion rank within a few days. But we only have one problem. Mutuo is different from other psychic Pokemon. His mind is like a human, the curious mind of humans, so Mutuo has to be connected to an armor we created to stop him from becoming out of control. I guess it's my fault for letting Mutuo interact with my dead daughter who I tried to clone. Even if I could not clone her, I am glad that Mutuo got her curiosity. I miss you, Amber. These were the last words Fuji spoke before the glass tube around Mutuo shattered as all the people in the room exploded, splashing blood everywhere. The video ended with a man in a black suit walking into the lab with a shiny totem bead reel alongside 2 people. Seems like Giovanni was here. Not just him, Blaine and Professor Oak too. Aoki played the second video, which had CCTV footage of all the rooms. As the enclosure of Mutuo broke, all the humans as well as the machines could be seen exploding. This footage also ended with Giovanni, Oak, and Blaine walking into the room. So this is what happened here. Sabrina muttered, watching the horrifying scene. I didn't know that Professor Oak was involved in this, Aoki said. Aoki and Sabrina spent an hour more in the lab but didn't find anything as everything was destroyed. Even if machines were destroyed, some research evidence should be there, but seems like they were taken away. There was nothing in the lab except the video that could lead back to Team Rocket. With only the journal and 2 drives, Aoki and Sabrina returned back to their hotels. In the night. So where to go next? Sabrina asked. I am thinking about returning back to Orange Town, my hometown, for a few days. Aoki said. What about the volcano badge? Sabrina asked. I already have 5 official and 3 unofficial badges, so I don't need any more badges. I am thinking about giving my Pokemon a short vacation to meet their old friends. Sounds like a good idea. I have already met Zapdos and have Articuno, the only legendary bird left is Moltres, so I am going in search of Moltres next before the league. Excitement filled Sabrina after hearing about Aoki confronting another legend. I looked into the rumors and people believe that Moltres can be found in the volcanoes of one island in the southeast region of Kanto near Or and Hone region. Can't wait for it, Sabrina expressed her excitement. As they were talking, the doorbell of their room rang. Aoki opened the door and was taken aback by the person on the door. He was a tall man in his 20s. The man had darker skin and had long blue hair. He wore white trousers and a black shirt with a matching white hat. Aoki Gunhildr, I finally found you. I am Leon from Galar the region. I am the man who will become the world champion. Aoki Gunhildr. I challenge you to a battle. Chapter 172, Aoki vs Leon. Aoki looked at Leon and then checked the time. Dreaming of becoming the world champion is okay and all, but have you seen the time? You're asking me for a battle in the middle of the night, Aoki said, annoyed. What are you saying? Day or night, a trainer never runs away from a battle. If I hadn't exceeded the minimum age for the Youth Cup, I would have fought you there. I came all the way from the Galar region to fight Professor Oak, Lance, and you, Leon said with stars in his eyes, making Aoki face palm. Fine, I will fight you. I feel like you won't leave me alone if I don't, Aoki said. Now that's what I'm talking about. Aoki looked at Sabrina and asked her to teleport them to the beach shore. Leon stood opposite Aoki on the shore of Cinnabar Island, excited for the battle. Aoki's cool hair hit his face as a part of it hit his blue eyes. Let's have a 6-on-6 match. You wanted to become the world champion by defeating all the strong trainers, right? Let's see if you can continue your dream after this battle, Aoki said with his hands in his pocket. Aoki's nonchalant attitude infuriated Leon for some reason. I have been training since I was 10 and haven't experienced defeat in my life yet. I have watched all your matches, so I don't think you have what it takes to shake my dream. I will add your name to the list of trainers I have surpassed, the champion of the Youth Cup, Leon said, taking out a Pokeball. Let's have champion time. Leon raised one of his arms dramatically and released his first Pokemon. It was an elite stage ghost/steel Pokemon that looked like a sword and shield. It was an Aegislash. Be grateful, Leon. You are the first person to see this Pokemon in battle. Let's end this quickly. Come out, Darkrai. A black shadow expanded from Aoki's shadow and materialized into a monster. Leon felt goosebumps all over his body as soon as Darkrai appeared on the field. What is this Pokemon? A Pokemon that scares me, that's new. Aegislash, use Night Slash. Using the shield as a base, Aegislash rotated its body at high speed and released sharp slashes of Dark-type energy. But instead of hitting Darkrai, all the slashes passed through it as if it were an illusion. Darkrai, Dark Sphere. Don't overdo it. Darkrai disappeared from its place and reappeared in front of Aegislash. Aegislash, shield stance, and use reflect. Boom. A loud explosion rang out as Darkrai's Dark Sphere crashed into Aegislash, sending it to the ground. One hit and Aegislash was down. Leon received a big blow from what he had just witnessed. Even Sabrina was a bit shaken up. Although she had a confrontation with Darkrai before, it was her first time seeing Darkrai fight. Since her psychic power had increased, she could feel the power of endless darkness from that energy ball Darkrai created. Next, Aoki said with his hands still in his pocket. Leon recalled Aegislash and called out his next Pokemon. An elite-level Haxorus. Haxorus, use X-Scissor, Dragon Claw, and Dragon Tail combo. Darkrai, use Dark Claws. Both Pokemon became blurred as they clashed all over the battlefield. From the speed and the way Haxorus moved, Aoki could tell that Haxorus was very well trained, but in front of Darkrai, training alone was not enough. Darkrai swung its dark energy-coated arms, breaking Haxorus' tusks. Haxorus immediately retaliated with outrage, but Darkrai held Haxorus' neck midway through the move and delivered a devastating Ice Punch uppercut. Darkrai teleported above Haxorus and unleashed a condensed Ice-type energy ball, causing another explosion and rendering Haxorus unable to continue battling. Next. Aoki's blue eyes glowed as Leon instinctively took a step back. Leon's next two Pokemon, Seismitoad and Dragapult, met the same fate as the first three. You are my last hope. Go, Charizard! With a loud roar, Leon's peak elite-ranked Charizard appeared on the battlefield. Charizard, use Flamethrower. Charizard opened its mouth and released a sea of flames, but Darkrai created another psychic barrier, preventing the flames from reaching it. Boom! Boom! Charizard used a fire punch followed by Mega Kick, but the psychic barrier remained unscathed. Darkrai aimed its arms, and a Dark-type energy ball shot at Charizard, dealing a significant amount of damage. However, Charizard was not ready to give up yet. Before it could execute its next move, Darkrai teleported behind Charizard and hit it with Dark Void, followed by Dream Eater, rendering Charizard unable to battle. Leon stood there with empty eyes. He had just lost his first match to a trainer, not just lost, but was utterly defeated. One Pokemon stomped on his entire team that was supposed to be undefeatable. Aoki now felt like an infinite wall that stood between Leon and his dream. What's with that expression, Leon? Life flashing before your eyes. Aoki walked towards Leon. The undefeated trainer, was it? Seems like I broke your record. No hard feelings, Leon. You have a wonderful dream, but as long as I exist, you can never fulfill your dream of becoming the world champion. If you still wish to pursue your dream, remember this fight. The fight where a single Pokemon brought down your team of elite Pokemon, the fight where your undefeated team faced defeat. At least you know whom you have to defeat to become the world champion. Well then, next time we meet, try to at least put up a fight. Work hard, Leon, to become the second strongest trainer, Aoki said before slowly walking away with Sabrina. Leon called back Charizard and stood on the shore, motionless. Author note: I have read a lot of comments regarding the story being slow-paced. Till the end of the Kanto League, the story would be slow-paced. After the Kanto League ends, I will increase the pace of the story as big changes would occur in the world. Chapter 173, Orange Town. Same night. You went too hard on him, felt like you had a grudge against him, Sabrina said, remembering the battle. She was one against reminded that she was traveling with monsters and staying around him was the safest place in the world. With 3 champion-level Pokémon on his team alongside multiple elite-level Pokémon, Sabrina doesn't think anyone comes close to his power, not even Giovanni. Leon had a big dream like mine, so he had to be given a reality check. He claimed that he was an undefeated trainer, so I decided to break his winning streak. If you know what your final opponent will be, you may take one of the 2 paths. Either you give up proving that you didn't have what it takes to follow your own dream. Or you become even more motivated and become determined to surpass that final opponent. Leon has huge potential. He has a strong team of elite stage Pokémon who can easily stand against the Elite Four and even defeat the champion of some regions. I wish to see where this defeat leads him to. Aoki said, remembering Leon from the anime. Have you ever lost a Pokémon battle? Sabrina asked. After my official debut as a trainer, I didn't lose any battle. I had lost a battle against a wild Pokémon a few months back. It was the battle where I met Darkrai, Aoki replied. Aoki and Sabrina spent a few more days on Cinnabar Island before deciding to leave. As expected, Leon went on the second path and continued his dream. Professor Oak informed Aoki that a trainer named Leon challenged him to a battle and even managed to defeat his champion-level Dragonite, but ultimately lost to his other Pokémon. Although retired, Samuel Oak was still one of the Kanto League champions. The next day another piece of news reached Aoki and Sabrina. The Viridian gym exploded that night as a pink Pokémon could be seen flying out of the broken gym and disappearing into the air. Sabrina contacted Koga for information and confirmed the details. As expected, Mewtwo escaped. The tracker placed on his body was broken shortly after, so there is no way to track back Mewtwo. Sabrina knew what that thing was and became worried, as an unstable champion-level legendary like that would cause havoc if left unchecked. A smile appeared on Aoki's face since things seemed to be going in the direction he wants. With nothing else to do in Cinnabar Island, Aoki and Sabrina departed for Orange Town on the back of Articuno. The Orange Town was not exactly a small town. A lot of 1-story and 2-story houses covered the town, with the most beautiful one being on the seashore that belonged to Aoki's family. Although Sabrina never visited Orange Town, she only knew that the main branch of Alicia's Kitchen, which was owned by Aoki's parents, was in this town. Sabrina regretted not visiting the town earlier. The scene from above was one of the most beautiful towns she had seen. Orange, red, and white flowers covered the entire town with beautiful patterns. Roofs of houses were decorated with flowers, trees cut in the shape of various Pokémon, and beautiful gardens filled with beautiful flowers. Even for a town, the roads were very well built. Town folks who were on the road looked above in shock as they found the legendary Articuno flying around their town, cooling the environment. Some people found themselves blessed, while children jumped with joy seeing the Pokémon from Fables. A crowd started to gather around Aoki's house as the news of the owner of Articuno spread around the town. The pride of their town has returned home. Aoki Gunhilder was back. Everyone in the town already knew Aoki, but now he had become a celebrity. As soon as Aoki landed on the shore near his house and restaurant, people surrounded Aoki and began putting garlands of flowers around his neck and gave him a warm welcome. Pushing aside the people, a Pokémon jumped on Aoki, making him fall on his back. I am back, Arcanine. I missed you so much. Aoki began patting Arcanine's fur as Arcanine licked Aoki's face. This was Aoki's father Arcanine and Aoki's best friend before Aoki started his journey. Another Pokémon rushed towards Aoki but didn't immediately jump on him, but looked away, making a pout. You still hold a grudge against me for not taking you, miss? Stop pouting and give me a hug, Scyther. Aoki stood up and gave Scyther a hug. This female Scyther belonged to his mother, who was the closest to him after Arcanine. Scyther was a tsundere, so she had difficulty showing affection. Both Arcanine and Scyther were with Aoki from his birth till he left and were very dejected when Aoki didn't take them on his journey. Seeing Aoki back home, all their grudges washed away. Look who is back in town. I thought you would never come back after seeing the world. A handsome middle-aged man walked forwards, giving Aoki a hug. I can't forget my home, can I? Aoki said. Why didn't you come back sooner? You know how much I waited for you to come to visit us. A beautiful woman approached Aoki and hugged him from the other side. I am a busy man, you see, you have a book a formal appointment to meet me, Aoki said, getting a light slap on the back from his dad. You never change, you little rascal. Nothing in the world can change me from who I am, Aoki said with a smile. I am back, Mom and Dad. Aoki hugged them tight. Welcome home, Aoki. Sabrina watched Aoki's interaction with amusement as Aoki felt like a little kid in front of his parents. Both of Aoki's parents were good-looking, no wonder Aoki turned out to be so handsome. Aoki's mom looked at Sabrina and whispered in his ears. Seems like you turned into a player after all, not just Misty, you even charmed gym leader Sabrina. You are looking at the girl, don't you see your son was riding the legendary Articuno? Did you even imagine in your dreams to witness this scene? Aoki's father exclaimed. All of the town folks wanted to see Aoki's Pokemon, so he released all of them. One by one: Darkrai, Charizard, Salamence, Victreebel, Pidgeot, Nidoking, Gyarados, Clefable, Aerodactyl, Trapinch, Abra, Ghastly Eevee, and Axew appeared on the shore. Our son assembled a team of monsters, Aoki's mother Alicia commented. It was right to let him leave, he could have never found himself if he took over our business, Aoki's father Aoba replied. Instead of getting scared of such menacing Pokemon like Gyarados, people began cheering and treating them like celebrities. Clicking photos with them, handing them gifts, garlands, etc. Aoki's Pokemon didn't know what to feel about this and just went with it. Arcanine and Scyther suddenly felt a sense of jealousy from all of the Pokemon in front of them, especially Victreebel, since they were told that he was Aoki's starter. Sabrina was also warmly welcomed since the news had spread that she was Aoki's girlfriend. Aoki entered his house where he met with the restaurant staff and the rest of his old Pokemon friends like Vileplume, Parasect, Flareon, Fearow, Vaporeon, Beedrill, Butterfree, and Pidgeotto. He let his Pokemon get familiar with the Pokemon he grew up with. Professor Oak stared blankly at Darkrai, then Articuno, then at Aoki. So you are telling me, you just stumbled upon them on your journey? Articuno nodded. That is exactly what happened, Darkrai replied. He can talk. Both Aoki and Darkrai nodded. You don't just come across legendaries and mythical Pokemon out of the blue, Oak said, slamming the table with shock. A team of elite rank and a champion rank Pokemon just under a year already didn't make any sense, and now Aoki had 2 more champion rank legendaries under him. Red collected all 3 legendary birds after becoming the champion in his 20s, but Aoki is not even 18 and has 2 legendary under him. Aoki was even more overbearing than Red. Aoba was trying to hold back her laughter watching a calm person like Oak lose his composure. Now Professor, don't be so agitated, Aoki is going to stay here for a few days, you will have a lot of time to question him, Aoba said. Although he has seen a wide variety of Pokemon trainers from all around the world come to his restaurant, seeing 2 legendaries beside his son shocked him a bit too. But it made him more proud than shocked, Aoki was his son after all. For the last few months, Professor Oak spends most of his free time in this restaurant, so it wasn't new that Oak was there today when Aoki arrived. Sabrina was supposed to join them in conversation, but Aoki's mother had dragged her inside to know her better. While Aoki was giving him some details about his journey, a Crobat arrived at the table carrying 2 plates of food. Seems like you adjusted well here, Aoki said, looking at the Crobat, making it flinch and quickly leave. It was the same Crobat that Aoki caught in Empty Moon. At that time he didn't need Crobat, so he sent it to Professor Oak to take care of it. Later, with Aoki's permission, Crobat was given to Aoki's family and became a waiter for them. I will join you 2 later, I have to open the restaurant. Aoba left Aoki and Oak to talk alone. Whatever, I wouldn't question you more on your Pokemon since I don't think I will get my answers. What is your current topic of research? Oak asked. I am working on finding the evolution of some Pokemon. My hypothesis is complete, I just have to implement it. By my estimation, by the end of this month, I will be announcing 3 new evolution of existing Pokemon. Oak was immediately interested in Aoki's research and asked for the first access to his paper when he completes it. In the evening, Aoki knocked on the door of a house with Sabrina alongside him. The door was opened by a man in his late 20s. Long time no see, hero. Yeah, it's been a while, Kevin, Aoki replied. Kevin was a medium-height man with curly brown hair. Fana is resting in the bedroom, let me take you 2 to her. She was sad that she couldn't go to meet you, Kevin replied. In a well-lit bedroom, a woman in her late 20s sat by the window reading a book. Pretty face, and long green hair. You are here, Aoki. The woman turned her face towards Aoki, making Sabrina a bit shocked. The left side of the woman's face was deeply scarred with her left eye gone. Fana stood up with the help of a cane and gave Aoki a big hug. Sabrina noticed that her right leg was amputated. Sorry I couldn't come to help meet you when you came back. It's okay Fana, you shouldn't walk much in your condition. You are right. Fana gave a gentle laugh. Aoki introduced Sabrina to Fana, which made her very happy. Kevin just smiled watching their interaction. Sabrina noticed that Kevin and Fana had matching rings on their fingers, so they were most probably married. Hey Fana, would you like to run again? Aoki asked. Yes, I wish to run again, but why are you asking? Because I am giving you your face and legs back, Aoki said. Darkrai, do it. Darkrai immediately used his powers to put both Kevin and Fana to deep sleep. Aoki, this woman. Sabrina muttered. Yes, she was my first love. Fana was a Pokemon Ranger. Brave, cheerful, and very fun to be around. We went on a lot of adventures in the wild and I learned a lot of things from her. But one day, she met an unfortunate accident during her ranger missions. The attack of wild Pokemon was too much for her and her Pokemon to handle. All her Pokemon passed away while she lost one of her legs and got a scar on her face. After that incident, she completely changed. Her smile, laugh, everything was gone. Her mental condition worsened to the degree that she tried to take her life multiple times. It was Kevin who saved her. Kevin was another ranger who also loved Fana. With love and constant support for years, Fana was somewhat back to normal. I wished that I could do something for her, but there was nothing I could do. But the current situation is different. Although she belongs to someone else now, I still wish to see her smile again. Aoki called out Clefable and the Chansey squad and began circulating a dark aura through Fana's body. Slowly but surely her legs started to regenerate, followed by her face getting back to normal. Sabrina was shocked to see the regeneration power of aura but decided to ask about it later. After 10 minutes, her body was completely healed, devoid of any scars. Sabrina had a good look at Fana now and she was truly a beautiful woman. Darkrai woke both of them up from their sleep. Fana and Kevin saw each other and froze as tears started to drop from their eyes. In front of Kevin was Fana without a single injury on her body. For Fana, she could feel her leg and see properly again. Fana stood up and almost fell, but Kevin caught her. With minimal support, Fana walked towards the mirror to have a good look at herself as she began laughing and crying at the same time. Fana enveloped Kevin in a kiss, seeing which Aoki felt a jolt of pain. Ahem. Sabrina decided to make them realize Aoki and her were still there. Aoki, this. Fana didn't know what to say. I have a Pokemon who completely healed you. Didn't I make a deal years ago that I would heal you one day? I am completing my deal today. But, my deal was that I would Stop there, I don't want to hear anything more. I just wanted to help you, I don't wish anything in return other than you keep smiling forever, Aoki said. Kevin fell to Aoki's knees, thanking him continuously and asking him how could he repay Aoki. No matter what I do, I can't thank you enough, Aoki. Fana muttered. I don't want any money from you. Fana was someone very precious to me, just keep doing what you always did, Kevin. Make her happy. I will make her the happiest woman, have trust in me. That should be enough. I will catch up with you guys later, I am really tired today, Aoki said, asking Sabrina to teleport both of them before Fana and Kevin could say anything. Chapter 174, 1 month. It was the first week of January. Almost a year had passed since Aoki started his journey. It's been a month since Aoki and Sabrina started staying in Orange Town. Although Aoki spent most of his time training and researching, time was peaceful. Sabrina enjoyed her peaceful life here away from all the troubles in her life. Aoki showed Sabrina all his favorite places in the forests around the town where he used to spend his time in. Arcanine and Scyther always followed Aoki wherever he went. Eevee also joined their team to follow Aoki. Aoki didn't take Arcanine and Scyther along with him because he wanted them to protect his parents since both of them were at master rank. Now that his restaurant had become Professor Oak's hangout place, Oak always have his Pokemon protect Aoki's parents, so Aoki finally decided to take Arcanine and Scyther with him. Aoki showed both of them Darkrai's dimension and told them about the type of war Aoki would be participating in the future. Both of them would be joining the second team alongside Eevee, Ghastly, Abra, Trapinch, and Axew. Since only a month is left for the Pokemon League, Ash's squad and Gary returned back to Pallet Town and continued their preparation there. All of them made sure to visit Aoki since they got to know that he was back home. Aoki had promised Ash a battle in the past, so he completed his promise then. Ash's team had improved a lot since the last time Aoki saw them. Blastoise, Venusaur, Charizard, Pidgeot, Gengar, and his ace Pikachu. Ash had managed to evolve all his Pokemon to their last stage except Pikachu, who refused to evolve. He even managed to tame his Charizard. Although all of his Pokemon were in Master rank, being able to create a team of 6 Master-level Pokemon in under a year was a noteworthy achievement. His luck could be said to be insane as he was able to collect all the Kanto starters and take them to their final stages. Ash assumed that with his upgraded team, he would at least take down one of Aoki's Pokemon, but Aoki's Clefable and Nidoking took down his entire team. Just like always, this fight motivated Ash to work even harder. Gary too had a team full of Master-level Pokemon and challenged Aoki to see how much he had improved, knowing well that he was going to lose. After the matches, Aoki gave them some advice and met with Ash and Gary's families since they had met Aoki's parents. Last week Aoki gave all his Pokemon a vacation for a few days and allowed them to go wherever they wanted. Clefable decided to go to MT Moon to meet her tribe, who had shifted to an even deeper part of the mountain. The tribe leader was very happy to see Clefable and glad that he let Clefable leave with Aoki. Nidoking met up with his tribe and found that their territory had increased a lot. It turns out that after Aoki left with him, his tribe conquered the area of the Golem, making them the tribe with the largest territory there. Although their numbers had increased with more Nidokings and Nidoqueens in the tribe, the current tribe leaders were still his parents with no degradation in their strength. Nidoking challenged and thrashed his entire tribe to show how much he had improved while traveling with Aoki. The tribe wanted Nidoking to become the leader, but Nidoking refused to leave Aoki's side. Pidgeot managed to track his previous squad and thrashed the leader who killed her father, but decided not to kill him since a leader was needed in the tribe. Gyarados wanted to search for his tribe members in the seas of Vermilion City but couldn't find them anymore. They should have been there since Aoki heard that most of the captured Gyarados were released, but they had migrated somewhere else. Victreebel wanted to stay in Professor Oak's sanctuary to meet his old friends. Charizard and Salamence did the same and challenged Oak's original team, especially Dragonite. Abra didn't want to go anywhere and slept continuously for a few days while Axew visited his family. Eevee, Ghastly, Tranpinch, Darkrai, and Articuno didn't have any interest in leaving. After the vacation, Aoki put the second team in Spartan training, finally taking them to Master rank. After collecting some expensive strength boost materials from the black market, Aoki let them evolve. Trapinch evolved into a 1.5 meter tall Vibrava after absorbing elite rank ground core, dragon scales, and blood from Salamence and Charizard. His appearance completely changed from a turtle-like creature to that of a big insect. Vibrava now acquired dragon typing and levitate ability. Axew evolved into a 1.7 meter tall Fracture after absorbing blood and dragon scales from Charizard and Salamence. Abra evolved into an almost 2 meter tall Kadabra while absorbing psychic cores. Kadabra now had a spoon in his hand that was created from his psychic powers. Unlike Abra, Kadabra didn't need to sleep to stockpile psychic energy. Finally Ghastly evolved into a 2m tall Haunter after absorbing a lot of Dusk Stones and poison from Victreebel and Nidoking. Unfortunately, Eevee was not ready to evolve yet since her mastery over Fairy-type energy hadn't reached a satisfactory level according to Evolve to Sylveon. All the Pokemon while evolving absorbed the energy of their respective types and aura from Aoki and the energy of Chaos from Darkrai while evolving, giving them purple tattoos on their bodies like Salamence and reaching peak master rank. Clefable, Victreebel, Charizard, Pidgeot, Gyarados, and Nidoking had reached peak elite rank, so Aoki started pushing them toward champion rank while starting their domain training. This domain training was different from the normal domain like electric terrain or misty terrain. It was trying to imitate Articuno's legendary domain. Articuno's domain changed the environment to his liking and converted all types of energy in the atmosphere into ice-type energy. It not only made his attacks stronger but also increased his ability to blend into the environment. During this time, another special event happened, which was the hatching of Larvitar and Dratini from their eggs. After absorbing the energy of Chaos, Dark Aura, and other energies for days, both of the eggs finally hatched. Larvitar was born male and larger than the average newborn. He was peak junior rank after being born. He had dark green scales with black tattoos on his back after absorbing the energy of Chaos. Larvitar had a grumpy personality and hated everyone after being born. Dratini was born female with a total body size of 2 meters and dark blue scales. Like Larvitar, She had a back tattoo around her eyes giving her a menacing look. Dratini had a friendly personality like Salamins when he was born. Oak inspected the newborn and was surprised by the healthy they were just after being born. Since Aoki explained some of Darkray's powers, Oak didn't question the black and purple tattoos since he had no data on them or Darkray. After a few days, Professor Gunhilder's new research took the world by storm. In a big conference called by Professor Gunhilder, he revealed the third stage evolution of 3 popular Pokémon Magmar, Electabuzz, and Radon. Aoki evolved the 3 Pokémon live on camera for the world to see. Magmar evolved to Magmaritar with the new evolution item called the Magmarizer. Magmarizer was an item that was made with the combination of peak-grade Firestone, Magma, and energy, tuning them in the frequency of the Pokémon trading machines. Electabuzz evolved to Electivire with the new evolution item called the Electivirizer. Electivirizer was created by overloading a peak-grade Thunderstone with lightning and tuning with the frequency of trading machines. Finally, Radon evolved into Rhyperior with the evolution item called the Protector. Protector was created from the parts of the horn of that specific Radon, Fossil Revival Liquid tuned in the frequency of trading Machins and Fossil Revival Machine. All 3 of the Pokémon needed to be at least in Master rank to undergo the evolution. The storm of Aoki becoming the champion of the Youth Cup was slowly dying, but with this new revelation, his reputation soared again. Aoki had become one of the most influential figures for being an exceptional trainer and a renowned professor. Chapter 175, Legendary Moltres. Caei Islands. A group of islands, present in the southmost part of Kanto. Unlike the Seafoam Islands, which were sparsely populated due to the climate of the islands, Caei Islands were sparsely populated due to the large whirlpools and tornadoes around the islands, making them basically isolated from the outside world. The only way to reach these islands was through a flying Pokémon, since ships and planes could not navigate through the whirlpools and storms. One such island was called One Island, which had the largest active volcano in Kanto called Mt. Ember. It was rumored that the strongest of the 3 legendary birds, Moltres, could be found here. Many trainers scaled Mt. Ember in search of the legendary Moltres, but only a few were successful to meet the bird. This was because of the unique power called the Legendary Domain, which made a legendary basically invisible to the naked eye unless the legendary wants. "You sense it, Articuno?" Aoki asked, sitting on top of Charizard. Articuno flew beside him and stared at the volcano in front of him. Opening his mouth, Articuno fired an ice beam at the top of the volcano, but before it could touch the volcano, an even stronger flamethrower hit the ice beam from the volcano as the sky started to get dark. The color of the ocean started changing from blue to acquiring an orange tint. That is when Aoki saw it. A small wisp of flame in the air expanded to take the form of a bird as it released a battle cry. The legendary Moltres was here. Moltres activated his domain as the air around him vibrated and turned red. Multiple buffs like Safeguard immediately activated, indicating that Moltres was ready for battle. Moltres stared at Akrashuno with anger for disturbing him and completely ignoring Aoki's presence. From the energy alone, Aoki could say that Moltres was stronger than Artiunco. With the added type advantage, Aoki was sure that Moltres would win against Articuno. But Aoki had no interest in making Moltres and Articuno fight. "Let's put your new powers to use, Salamins." Aoki released Salamins, who released a loud roar of challenge towards Moltres. "Respond to my calling and become the Emperor of the Sky." Salamins Mega Evolve. The 2 stones glowed in bright multicolored light. Salamand's wings meld together into a single huge, crescent-shaped wing. The abnormal purple color of his wings expanded to form flame-like symbols looking like tattoos on the blood-red wings. Madness filled Mega Salamanki's eyes as he marked Moltres. Moltres immediately felt a threat from Salamins which surpassed even Articuno. The air around Salamins rippled as it achieved a purple tint. Boom! Breaking the sound barrier, Salamins used Dragon Rush on Moltres, who responded with Brave Bird. Their clash created a huge shockwave of energy that even made Pidgeot almost lose her balance, who was flying far from the battle with Sabrina on her back recording the fight. Moltres could not handle Salamanki's power and crashed into the mountain. With a flap of his wing, Salamins immediately reached Moltres and used Dragon Pulse, which Moltres responded with an equally strong flamethrower. The clash of the 2 energies created so much light that it felt like a new sun was shining above the island. Salamins increased his power output as Moltres got turned into ash, but the next second reformed on top of the volcano. Moltres released another cry as his flames became brighter, increasing his size and power. Coating his arms in Dragon-type energy, Salamins swung his claws, releasing large slashes of Dragon-type energy. Moltres flapped his wings to release even stronger slashes of wind and flames. As the battle continued, Salamins started getting the upper hand in the battle, getting heavy hits on Moltres, but Moltres was almost unkillable. Every time Salamins did a heavy attack on Moltres, it regenerated rapidly. It wasn't a phoenix for nothing. Every legendary trio had a special ability. For Articuno, it was his stockpile attack and disappearing from senses. For Moltres, it was his insane regeneration that had a weakness too. Every time Moltres regenerated, it didn't completely regenerate, since Aoki could tell that Moltres' attacks were getting weaker. So it was a battle against time. Salamins was going to keep destroying Moltres till it can't regenerate anymore. A short old man stood near the shore of the inhabited one island with a pokeball in his hand, watching the battle between Moltres and Salamins. The battle was going on for an hour, creating havoc all around. Parts of islands were slowly sinking into the ocean, while the volcano that was dormant for years was about to erupt. I never imagined that I would see Moltres this helpless against an opponent. The man put down his binoculars and released a Pidgeot. Fly Scarlet, let's get Moltres back. The sky completely became purple as meteors made of condensed dragon-type energy crashed into Moltres one by one. Boom! As soon as the last meteorite hit Moltres, Salamins used Dragon Rush to finally made Moltres unable to battle. Salamins released a loud roar of victory after taking down one of the legendary of the Kanto region. Articuno looked at Moltres and smirked. Aoki landed near the fallen Moltres and plucked some feathers and threw an Ultra Ball, but it rejected Moltres. This only meant one thing. The Moltres already had a trainer. Sabrina was still recording the battle and landed alongside Aoki. She wondered who could have defeated Moltres before Aoki. Look up, someone is coming, Darkrai said to Aoki, making him look up in annoyance. Although he gained experience from this battle, it was very disappointing that he could not get Moltres for himself. Now he had to explain the Mega Evolution to that person. A few seconds later, a short heightened man alongside a Pidgeot landed near Aoki and called back Moltres. Your growth surpasses logic, my dear Aoki, the old man said, playing with his long white beard. The world is really small, Mr. Goodshow, we meet again. Aoki replied, calling back Salamins. Can't say I didn't expect you to have a Moltres. I didn't become the head of the Pokemon League Alliance just with influence alone, I had strong Pokemon too, Goodshow said. Still, I never expected you to become so strong to catch Articuno and defeat my Moltres. Goodshow looked at Sabrina and then back at Aoki. So can I ask, what are you doing here, Mr. Goodshow? Aoki asked. Me? I live on this island with my wife. I like living alone with my Pokemon, away from everything. It gives me peace of mind. Goodshow walked near Articuno and began patting him. Articuno didn't reject, since Goodshow had a smell similar to him. I also own an Articuno and Zapdos too, so if you come across one of them in the future and can't capture them, chances are I own them. I don't always keep them with me. Are you sure you wish to tell me this? Aoki asked. I am good at reading people and I know I can trust you, Aoki. So you can trust me to keep your secret too, you know what I am talking about. You have great powers in your hand, Aoki, make sure you don't misuse them. The world is changing. Difficult cults with a radical mindset are arising everywhere. In these times, we old men can't do much. The future is in your hands. Make the new era golden. Goodshow smiled. Ha! I spoke too much again. My house is nearby, come let me treat you too. You'll love my wife's cooking. Comment. 14 Comment. Vote. Chapter 176, Purpose of Life. The blue sea had become red. Wherever eyes went, there were bodies of Pokemon that had lost their life. Darkrai's body shook with grief as he looked at his arms covered in blood. No. 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 You can't die, Aoki. Celebi cried out. The world doesn't have a future without you. Please live, please live, please live. A few months earlier. Mutwo POV. Who am I? I can't hear or feel anything, just see unknown things in different colors doing things to me. I want to move, but I can't do anything. Insert Module 1, Human Viewpoint. What's a human? What are they trying to do to me? It's so painful, my head is about to bust open. Wait, I feel pain, pain. Is this what they call senses? Insert Module 2, Pokemon Viewpoint. Insert Module 3, Battle Experience. Insert. Mutwo, that's my name. What is my destiny? I was made with the intention of being used as a weapon. This is not my destiny, I reject this. I hate this. I hate being used. I want to be free. I will destroy everything, I will kill every single human that made me suffer. Professor Fuji. The subject has gone out of control. The psychic powers are off the charts. He has to do something. Boom. Boom. Yes, die. This is payback for all the pain I have suffered. Third-person POV. With an outburst of psychic energy from Mutuo, the entire research lab of Cinnabar Island was destroyed. Just as Mutuo tried to move, but he found that he could not move his body. As he tried to move, wires attached to his body started to snap, making Mutuo feel intense pain. Calm down, kid. A sweet voice rang in his head. The space in front of Mutuo rippled as a small pink Pokemon appeared in front of him. You. You are Mew. Everything I have suffered so far is because of you. All this happened because they wanted to recreate you through me. I will kill you. Mutuo roared as psychic energy burst out of him. Mew's eyes glowed as Mutuo's anger vanished in an instant. A sense of relief replaced all the pain he was feeling earlier. I said, calm down, kid. Since you were created mostly from my genes, I am responsible for you. We both are different entities, Mutuo, you are your own individual, no one's weapon. I know the humans wanted to use you as a weapon, but they still gave you the gift of life. I wish to make you realize the beauty of life. I will help you realize who you are. I will help you realize your destiny. Mew flew forwards and wrapped his small body around Mutuo. I am sorry I couldn't be with you earlier, I am sorry you suffered so much for me. Mew touched his forehead with Mutuo. A warm feeling formed inside Mutuo as his eyes started to water. Although Mutuo was a strong Pokemon, his maturity was still that of a child. Mew gave him the feeling that he was being wanted as someone, not for only his powers. Mutuo for the first time felt a feeling of happiness that was genuine, not artificial emotions. I will soon come to use you as his weapon, so try acting like one for a few months. I wish I could take you from here, but as of now, you can't survive till the humans complete you. You will die as soon as those wires snap. Mew said as he could tell Giovanni was approaching. Don't worry, I will make sure you are not hurt. I will keep talking to you daily so you are not lonely. When you can function normally without the aid of any machine, I will help you leave and show you the world. It's my promise to you. 6 months later. Orange Town. On a mobile screen, the news of Viridian Gym being destroyed was being announced. What is this device? A young man asked. He had long white hair that hid half of his face. It's called a mobile phone. An interesting device that humans invented. A small boy who sat beside him said. The boy happily chomped on some cookies that were kept in front of them. What is this palace? It appears to be so lively, the man said. It's a restaurant owned by one of my friend's family. Let me help you taste some real food, all you have been eating all this time is liquid food, the child said. Shortly the food came, and when the man took his first bite, a shock went through his body. He couldn't control his body and continued eating without stopping. What is this? Calm. It's too good. The child smiled seeing the man's reaction. The man and the child traveled to various locations like the shopping mall and museum in Pewter City, the mermaid performance in Cerulean City, gym battles, game centers, Pokemon cafes, Pokemon Center, etc. Aside from human civilizations, they visited various wild Pokemon areas to see how they live and famous tourist spots. After witnessing all the beauty of the world, it was time to see the darkness too. The man witnessed places where there is no sense of safety for anyone, neither humans nor Pokemon. Places like Black Market where Pokemon are sold like livestock with humans dying in each corner. Wild areas where Pokemon are always in a gruesome fight for survival. Humans and Pokemon were not so different after all. Both Pokemon and humans dreamed of a better future and did their best to survive. Each of them could survive without the presence of the other, but both of them benefit when they work together. As time went on, the view of the man of the world started changing. He made friends with both humans and Pokemon and started to cherish them. The man and the child completed their journey and stood at the cliff of an inhabited island as the sun rose from the horizon. So have you found yourself? The child as his disguise wore off, relieving the small pink form of Mew. Pokemon or human, it doesn't matter. With my powers I can become anything, so I decided to become both. I will live as I like. The man said as his appearance turned to Mutuo. Doesn't matter who gave me a life, but I wish to cherish it. I forgive the humans for what they did to me. A path of vengeance will only make me miserable. Mew smiled after hearing Mutuo's answer. You told me that the world was in danger, right? I can't let this beautiful world get destroyed, I will protect this world. I will join you, Mew, I will protect the balance. This is my calling. Chapter 177, The Darkness Dragon Rises. Although it was morning, the sky was painted a red tint. The ocean had become completely silent as it was experiencing intense pressure from all the creatures flying above it. A large dark green snake-like dragon Raykusa. The white dragon who could not uphold the truth, Risharam. The black dragon who lost his ideals, Zekrom. The guardian of the oceans who became tainted with darkness, a black-colored Logia. All of their energies were beyond champion rank with catastrophic powers as they were the original legendaries to be created. Time for our next step, creating a key to the distortion world, said a man who sat on top of Rayquaza. He was Fans. A fragment of Giratina's consciousness in a human body. Timaet's soul was destroyed in the war, all that's left is an empty husk that wants to destroy the world, Mars Haddo said, who was on the man's shoulder. Oh, poor soul, I can't bring myself to harm him even if he is just an empty husk. He fought with us till the end. But Lord, we need his legacy in the ring of distortion. I know. Someone else will do the work for us, we just need to wait. Let me see, how far Incubis and that human have come, Fans said, dropping some of his blood into the ocean. Crack. Hundreds of kilometers underwater, an enormous rock could be seen cracking. Da-bump. A loud heartbeat reverberated as the floor of the ocean started to get enveloped in darkness. The darkness started to create a separate dimension, taking everything inside. Every Pokémon with Dragon Pokémon in the ocean started moving toward the direction of the rock. Every wild elite or above Dragon Bloodline Pokémon across the Kanto region felt something snap inside them as they started flying in one direction. An enormous Dragonite opened its eyes and immediately became bloodshot as it started swimming towards the rock. Pallet Town. Only a week was left for the Pokémon League, so trainers all over the Kanto region were busy with their last preparations. In the middle of the forest inside Professor Oak's sanctuary, explosions could be heard. Aoki wanted to observe more Pokémon, so he asked for permission from Oak to train in his sanctuary and record data of different Pokémon. EV, put more power in your tail and jump higher. Fracture, fix your dragon coating, you are wasting energy. Vibrava, your wings are not in sync, try again. Kadabra, wait for a few seconds more before attacking, the power can be increased. Haunter, released ghost type energy around you more, increasing your area of attack. Dratini feels the flow of dragon type energy while using Dragon Dance. Keep changing your postures to find the best movements for. As his second team trained, Aoki kept giving commands for the next few hours. Larvitar and Dratini had a very rapid growth and reached intermediate rank. This second team was doing very well and growing at a rate that surpassed his first team. As the league was near, many gym leaders were called for some missions, so Sabrina decided to leave too. She would be meeting Aoki directly in Indigo Plateau. The training continued until noon, after which Aoki decided to start making lunch for everyone. His first team members who were training inside Darkray's dimension came out too for lunch. Oak's Dragonite also came to have lunch with Aoki since he liked Aoki's cooking a lot. Dragoid decided to give some pointers to the young Dratini in return for Aoki's favor. Alongside his team, Celebi also came for lunch, but her face appeared to be pale. What happened, Celebi? You look off, Aoki asked. Disaster, darkness, blood, death. Celebi muttered as her eyes glowed red. Celebi snapped to normal and started flying around Aoki. I saw a glimpse of the future. Something dangerous will be happening soon. You have to stop it, Aoki. Celebi cried out, holding Aoki. Aoki looked at Darkrai, who nodded. Seems like a retainer of Giratina is waking up. Darkrai felt a teleport coordinate on him, but he recognized the energy signature, so he didn't do anything. Aoki, Mew is coming, something must have happened. Soon enough, Mew and a new Pokémon teleported in front of Aoki, sending Dragonite and Aoki's second team on high alert as one of them released peak champion rank energy. Aoki's eyes widened seeing the Pokémon beside Aoki. Mew's eyes glowed as every Pokémon found themselves calming down. Celebi immediately flew towards and held Mew's tail with happiness. I believe it's our first time meeting in person, Aoki Gunhilder. Mew's eyes traced across all of Aoki's Pokémon, cheering his mood a bit. You have assembled some strong allies, it seems. You helped me last time, thank you for that, Aoki said. You have huge responsibilities upon your shoulders, so it's my calling to support you, Mew said. Mewtwo walked forward and stood in front of Aoki. In Mutuo's vision, Aoki's body was overflowing with a kind of energy that he had never felt before. Let me reintroduce myself. I am Mutuo, call me a Pokemon or whatever you want, doesn't matter. It's a pleasure meeting you again. I wish to become a hero and maintain the balance of the world. Since you are a key factor in the upcoming war against Giratina, I have decided to aid you. Mutuo said, moving his hand forward. Aoki felt weird seeing Mutuo like this. From what he remembered, Mutuo was a vengeful Pokemon with immense anger for humanity, but this Mutuo was completely different. Aoki was sure that the events from the movie didn't take place, so the only reasonable explanation is that it's because of Mew. Whatever the reason, it was best for Aoki since he didn't have to go out of his way to make Mutuo join him. As soon as Aoki touched Mutuo's hand, he felt a dark aura forcefully draining out of his body into Mutuo. Mutuo immediately felt strength fill his body with every cell of his body rejuvenation. Mutuo felt power in this body that he never felt before as a coating of dark aura appeared on his body. So this is the power of dark aura. I knew that ability to use aura was added to my genes, but I never knew how to use it. Mutuo had a wide smile. Mutuo felt some of the cells in his body reconstruct after coming in contact with dark aura, which normally took months with the technology of Team Rocket. Within seconds, Aoki's entire life experiences started flowing inside Mutuo. Aoki too felt a deep connection develop between him and Mutuo as he could feel the childlike mind of Mutuo. The bit of hesitation Mutuo had about Aoki vanished. Aoki. We will make a perfect pair. You give me your dark aura, I shall become your lance. Mutuo's calm attitude changed to an excited one. Mutuo had found the opportunity to become complete through the dark aura and follow his calling at the same time. Even Mew was surprised by Mutuo's change, but it was a change for good. I think it's time to come to the main topic. One of Giratina's retainers is about to be freed. From what I remember, its strength was on par with the Rayquaza. Mew said. Is it Tiamat? Darkrai asked. Yes, it's Tiamat, Mew said with tension in his eyes. Who is Tiamat? Aoki asked. Tiamat was the first dark dragon created by Giratina. An enormous five-headed black dragon who had malice carved into it, the ancestor of modern-day Hydreigon. Darkrai replied. You should have felt it by now, Incubus. The dragon's pulse, Mew said. Just as Mew said, a heartbeat reached Darkrai's ears. Soon Aoki too felt something. Although it's low, I can sense the energy of chaos in the air, Aoki said, looking at the sky. It was still the afternoon, but the sky had started to become dark. In all of the Pokemon with dragon bloodline present, there felt something as their eyes became black. A location appeared in their mind as their instincts ordered them to go there immediately. Aoki's Pokemon immediately snapped out of it, but all the Pokemon in Oak's lab could not snap out of it, even Oak's Dragonite. Just as he was about to set off, an intense gravitational pull pushed him to the ground by Mutuo and immediately put to sleep by Darkrai. Darkrai and Mutuo looked at each other and nodded. The seal has been broken. I can't help you in this fight, Aoki. You have to win this. You must leave immediately, I will gather reinforcements, Mew said before teleporting away. Aoki turned to Celebi and asked her to tell Zapdos about the situation. Aoki didn't know what he was up against, so he needed all the help he could. Darkrai, Clefable, Mutuo, get to work immediately, there are multiple dragons Pokemon here, put all of them to sleep. You all are too weak to participate in the battle, you will be staying in Darkrai's dimension, Aoki said to his second team. Guys, prepare yourself, the time has come to put all that training to use, Aoki said to his first team. Aoki took out a map and asked those who felt the call to show him the rough estimate of the monster's location. As soon as Mutuo and the others returned, Aoki decided to leave. Ready, Salam Ints. Mega Evolution. Seeing Mega evolve in front of him surprised Mutuo, since Salamanki's energy reached equal to him in an instant. Hop on, Mutuo. Chapter 178, Retainer Tiamat. When darkness is born, the light will always be present to clash against that darkness. Tiamat was not the only dragon titan to be created, Dialga and Palkia created multiple titans to counter Giratina's creation. The only dragon titan to live after the war was Apep, the ancestor of modern-day Dragonite, and Levia, a Lapras. They only had one purpose, to become light and destroy the darkness once it woke up. Large ripples spread across the black ocean water as a blue head came out of the water. It was red eyes with black scales around its eyes with large purple flame-like structures around its neck. Creating large waves, a total of 5 heads came out of the ocean before the entire body of the dragon was launched into the air. It was a 5-headed dark dragon more than 100 meters in size. The center head had a purple flame-like structure made of the energy of chaos, with the rest of the long neck being covered in dense black fur. The rest of the 5 heads were almost the same but had the purple structure missing. The dragon had a dark blue body with purple scales at the bottom continuing to the tail. It was large claw-like wings, 3 on each side of its back, making it fly in the air. Opening all the 5 mouths at once, Tiamat roared, sending purple of dark type energy and energy of chaos all around him. All Pokemon except the ones with dragon-type bloodline started dying in large numbers, along with their life energy made the energy of chaos in the air stronger. Dragon Pokemon all over the world started showing strange behavior, while the strong ones in the Kanto region flew around Tiamat celebrated. Their minds were completely taken over by Tiamat, making them forget who were. Although Tiamat didn't have a consciousness, it had started doing what it was made for: fight and destroy. Tiamat's senses covered a huge distance as it flapped its multiple wings to move toward the place with the largest number of energy signatures along with its army. Midway through, all 5 heads of Tiamat turned towards the left and fired a beam of dragon, dark, ghost, poison, and fire, which was met with an equally strong beam of pure dragon-type energy. With another large splash, an enormous orange dragon with a size almost equal to Tiamat revealed itself from the ocean. It was Apep, the last standing dragon titan to be created alongside Levia. The titans locked eyes with each other and moved toward each other with an enormous amount of energy exploding out of their bodies. Apep roared as most of the dragons following Tiamat started moving away from Tiamat as their minds were taken over by Apep to stay away from the battle. The water moved again as the wings of Tiamat started freezing. With large ripples, a giant lapras showed itself from the ocean. It was Levia, one of the last titans alongside Apep. The battle of the titans had begun. Tsunami warnings were given to the coasts of Kanto and Johto as mass evacuation had started. Ice and water trainers were called to stabilize the situation and freeze the rising water. News of dragon bloodline Pokemon going berserk could be heard all over the world. The League was quick to action, asking all trainers to call their Pokemon to their Pokeball to stop their rampage. The entire organization of Rangers was deployed to stabilize the wild dragons, while the Elite Four and champions of each region were deployed to find the cause of such behavior. People like Lance, Drasna, and Drake were most affected of the Elite Four and had to depend on their non-dragon-type Pokemon to work. Professor Oak looked at the news of destruction caused by dragon Pokemon as he held the Pokeball of Dragonite. Alakazam stood beside Oak with a worried expression as he read memories of all the sleeping dragon Pokemon. It was clear that Mew approached Aoki, which Oak, contrary to others, considered a bad omen. It was only after meeting Mew that Red and Blue disappeared forever. "Be safe, Aoki," Oak muttered. The blue and pink orbs on Oak's shelf vibrated as they started cleansing the air of energy of chaos. "Let's go, Alakazam, we need to help too." Sabrina and Misty received a message from Aoki which made them devastated. "This might be the last message you receive from me. I thought I had more time, but the fight started earlier than I expected. I am going to fight against the reason for all this chaos. There is a reason why my Pokemon grows so fast, there is a reason why Darkrai follows me, there is a reason only why I can stop this chaos. If I return alive, I will tell you everything. I love you, please stay safe." The corpse of the dragon Pokemon could be seen floating in the water and got caught in the battle between the two titans. The dead body of Levia floated with her head missing from her body. A fountain of blood flowed as Apep's claws tore up one of Tiamat's heads, but 4 other heads of Tiamat tore off one of Apep's wings. Unlike Tiamat's insane regeneration power, which already started healing Tiamat's head, Apep didn't have such regeneration power. His body was covered in blood and chunks of his flesh were missing. Apep roared in pain and tried to punch away Tiamat, but the wings of Tiamat stabbed into Apep's body. Boom! One of the heads shot a beam of lightning, creating a hole into Apep's body. Boom! Another beam of intense dragon-type energy struck Apep as he fell into the ocean, creating huge waves. Apep felt strength rapidly leave his body as his regeneration could not keep up with the damage done to his body, but he was not done it. All the injuries that Tiamat got from Apep and Levia completely healed, making all their effort a waste. Seeing that Apep could not move anymore, Tiamat began processing toward the Kanto mainland. "Clear the area around the Dragonite Articuno." A voice reached Apep's ears. Apep recognized this voice very well. "Everyone! Activate your domains!" Aoki commanded all his Pokemon. All of his Pokemon felt a burning sensation all over their body due to the dense energy of chaos in the air, even with their increased resistance. The one suffering the worst was Mewtwo, as it was his first time coming across the energy of chaos, but handling pain was not new to him. The constant supply of Dark Aurum made Mewtwo elevate a lot of the pain. Articuno, Gyarados freeze the water to create a solid ground for Nidoking and Victreebel. A large amount of ice was released from the mouths of Mega Gyarados and Articuno, freezing a wide area of the ocean. Clefable bring out Chansey Squad and start healing the Drago Knight. Apep opened his eyes as the figure of Aoki riding on Pidgeot and Salamence appeared in his vision. I knew it, in the glimpse of future I saw, we will be fighting together, O wielder of dark aura. Aoki landed near Apep and began supplying him with a dark aura. Seems like you have powers related to time, my guy, we are fighting together after all. Aoki recognized this dragon, it was the same from back in the lighthouse. Charizard, Salamence use flame-charged dragon pulse. Mega Charizard and Mega Salamence flew bullets toward Timaet, who used his 5 elemental beams at them. Using their superior speed and reflexes, both of them dodged the beams as they used dragon pulse, combining their attack and targeting the middle head. Timaet brought his wings forward to block the attack, but they started to melt from the power of flame-charged dragon pulse. Timaet felt its regeneration slow down. His body remembered this feeling, it was dark aura. A power that could shut down its regeneration. Instantly the reflexes and power output of Timaet increased as it used dark pulse all around it. The range of the attack covered kilometers in an instant, solely targeting Apep and Aoki's Pokémon. Darkrai Mutuo Barrier. A barrier made of 2 layers of psychic and dark type energy formed around all the Pokémon of Aoki. Apep mustered his strength and created a barrier of dark type for himself. Aoki supplied for dark aura as he felt the barrier getting weakened. As if that was not enough, 2 of the heads bent backward and used dragon pulse at the human who was the wielder of dark aura and commander. Pidgeot immediately reached her top speed to dodge the attacks, but some of it didn't work as Pidgeot fell near Aoki with both of her wings missing in the brink of death. Selfable immediately left Apep's side and rushed towards Pidgeot. It was already a huge strain on Aoki to supply aura to his army, but he had to surpass his limits. Increasing his output, which slowly started to suck the life out of his arms as Pidgeot's wings rapidly started to regenerate. If he had hesitated, Pidgeot would be dead. Boom! One of the heads exploded as Mutuo and Darkrai used their powers, while another head froze with Articuno and Gyarados' ice beams. Mega Charizard, Mega Aerodactyl, and Salamence synchronized their attack pattern and attacked the central head, which appeared to be the most powerful. But they were constantly attacked by the wild Gyarados, Drago Knight, Dragonair, Flygons, Salamence, Charizard, etc. Most of them were wild while some belonged to trainers, but time was not enough to distinguish between them. Even if Darkrai put them to sleep, Timaet's powers would wake them up, so the only option was to either kill them or make sure they were out of strength. Seeing that Apep's own regeneration kicked in, Aoki called back the Chansey Squad and let Clefable join the battle, and prepared a new strategy. Mutuo and Darkrai teleported all over the battlefield, destroying the dragons and putting them into Darkrai's dimensions. The sky crackled as hundreds of spears of lightning started to fall into the battlefield almost instantly. Clefable and Nidoking could not dodge in time and took huge damage, almost ending their lives, but regeneration from dark aura kicked in at the last moments. Lightning crackled in all of the heads as beams of lightning targeted all of Aoki's Pokémon. The range of the attacks was so wide that all of Aoki's Pokémon took critical damage from the attacks except Mutuo and Darkrai, who were keeping the flow of the battle. Within a few minutes, Mutuo had adjusted to Aoki's team play and actively and accurately switched between support and attack. This intensive and enormous use of dark aura was starting to take a toll on Aoki's body, but it was no place to give up. Timaet released a wide-range dragon pulse all around him, which was impossible to dodge. Darkrai and Mutuo created barriers, but they were not enough to absorb all attacks as Pokémon began to take damage. Although all of them were trained to handle the energy of chaos, the quantity was too much for them to handle and started to affect their immune system. Everyone began to overexert themselves even if their bodies were falling apart. Mega Aerodactyl and Mega Charizard flew near one of the heads and used Hyper Beam, destroying one of the heads. Articuno and Gyarados immediately froze the wings that were about to attack them as Solar Beams, Hyper Beam, and Moon Blasts of Victreebel, Nidoking, and Clefable hit the nearest hit, making half of the nearest head get crushed. Mega Salamence used his full power Dragon Rush to dodge the upcoming flame attack and made a hole into the head of the middle head. Mutuo condensed a beam of Hyper Beam combined with his psychic power, while Darkrai used a slash of condensed dark-type energy. A combination of their attacks destroyed the rest of the 2 heads as the others immediately started to destroy the wings, making Timaet fall into the ocean. Just as Aoki thought that the loss of all heads and wings and heads would do something, like a nuclear bomb, the body of Timaet exploded, releasing an enormous amount of energy of chaos. Aoki watched as a shockwave of energy of chaos approach him and his Pokémon. It was too late to react. Chapter 179, Fall of the Titans. Aoki could not hear or see anything. Everything was dark and a deafening silence. His connection with his Pokémon was gone as the supply of dark aura stopped. Aoki seemed to have lost the sense of time. My eyes and ears are not working. Aoki thought as he could feel every part of his body. Aoki was running out of aura but he had no choice. His other arm started losing vitality as his eyes and ears started to heal. The first thing Aoki saw was Darkrai and Mewtwo standing in front of him with a barrier. Aoki needed some time to comprehend what was going on. Pidgeot, Victreebel, Nidoking, and Clefable had fainted. Gyarados and Aerodactyl had reverted back to their normal form but had no strength to move. Charizard also came out of his Mega Evolution stage but still had some strength to fight. The only one who was standing up was Salamence, who was still in his Mega Evolution state. Articuno was beside them creating shields of ice. Apep was in front of them with smoke coming out of his mouth. The body of Tiamat could be seen with several missing body parts. 4 of its heads were gone with no signs of regeneration. Its legs were gone but Tiamat was still in the air due to his wings. What is going on, Darkrai? Aoki asked as he stumbled a bit to stand up. Apep was storing energy for a final attack since the beginning but it needed Dark Aura to work. Apep used his final attack combining it with Dark Aura to clash against Tiamat's attack, keeping us alive, but it exhausted most of our strength to deal with the residual power. See in front of you, Aoki, most of Tiamat's powers are gone. We just have to work a bit more, Darkrai said. Call back the ones who can't fight, Aoki, they would hold us back, Mewtwo said. With a large splash, Apep fell to the ocean as he had no strength left in his body. I have done my part, wielder of Dark Aura, the rest is up to you. A telepathic message from Apep reached Aoki. Yeah, just a bit more. Aoki called back the ones who could not fight anymore and only kept Charizard, Articuno, and Salamence around. Are you done? Aoki asked, looking at Charizard. Charizard gritted his teeth and stood beside Aoki as his Mega Stone started shining again. I didn't train so hard to give up the midway, Charizard said as he reached his Mega Evolution stage again. Let's go then. Aoki said, connecting Mega Charizard, Mega Salamence, Articuno, Darkrai, and Mewtwo with Dark Aura again as their mind connected. Tiamat roared as his body started to shrink in size to 15 meters from more than 100 meters. 2 of his heads and wings started to regenerate and making him look like an abnormally large Hydreigon. Flapping his wings, Tiamat rushed towards Aoki and Apep as the energy of chaos started to revolve around him. 3 heads of Tiamat opened their mouth and released breaths of poison, lightning, and dragon type as Ice Beam, Dragon Breath, and draconic flames clashed with them, creating big explosions. This time, the clash felt equal as Tiamat lost most of his strength from Apep's attack. Tiamat flapped his wings as cyclones started to emerge from the water with lightning strikes from the sky. Manipulating the already present aura of chaos into the air, Darkrai took control of the lightning to use Tiamat's own lightning against himself. Multiple aura spheres summoned my Mewtwo crashed into Tiamat, making him roar in pain. Articuno summoned a blizzard, freezing all the cyclones as well as slowing Tiamat down. One of Tiamat's heads exploded from a blast of psychic energy from Mewtwo, and this time, it didn't regenerate. Tiamat started exerting more strength but it was falling short as Darkrai was using his own attacks against him. With another psychic blast from Mewtwo, the second head of Tiamat exploded, leaving only one of the heads. Tiamat's wings started to melt as Charizard's purple flames continued to burn. This is for Apep. Salamence roared as he used Draco Meteor to break Tiamat's body even more. It's time for you to sleep one and for all. Darkrai appeared in front of Tiamat as he stabbed his hand at the center of Tiamat's body, taking out a pitch-black orb and devouring it. In the vision of Apep, the life in Tiamat's eyes disappeared as he fell into the ocean to sleep forever. My creators, I managed to aid in doing what I was made for, my objective in life is fulfilled. Charizard and Salamence came out of the Mega Evolution state and started taking deep breaths, laying on the ice platform made by Articuno. Articuno was also tired and lay beside them. Mewtwo didn't drop his vigilance and kept an eye on everything. I wanted to help you more but I can't bring out any more aura, Aoki said, touching Apep's head as he felt Apep's life slowly fade away. Healing abilities were not working on Apep anymore. Don't blame yourself. You are a savior. Without your help, the calamity could not be stopped. I have fulfilled my objective. It's time I reunite with my family. Thank you, for fighting with me. Apep closed his eyes to rest. Darkrai dragged Apep's corpse and began absorbing it till he found something strange. A black stone with a ring around it. Darkrai kept the stone in his dimension and cleaned the blood off the ring to reveal its golden color. Dark Ray's eyes widened as he immediately recognized this ring. Don't tell me. Dark Ray's body froze as he lost control over his body. Giratina's control. No. 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 Don't tell me he is free. Mutuo's every sense warned him of something. He immediately tried to teleport away with everyone, but his teleportation ability stopped working after only getting 50 meters away from Apep as a powerful beam made of dragon-type energy, stronger than the one Apep and Timaet used, rained upon Apep, destroying his body to nothingness. It's not over yet, prepare yourselves. Mutuo roared as Aoki, Articuno, Charizard, and Salamence immediately got ready, although they didn't have any strength left. With strong gusts of wind, multiple large Pokémon landed in front of them, with each of them having their energies beyond champion level. The original first-rate legendaries. We are fucked. Aoki gritted his teeth, seeing Primal Rayquaza, Reshiram, Zekrom, and a Black Lugia in front of them whose energies were even more than what Apep and Timaet had. A man came down from the back of Rayquaza with a Marshadow on his shoulder. The last user of Dark Aura. What to say, I expected a bit more from someone who is supposed to stop me. The man had purple hair and had bandages wrapped around his body. Dark Ray recognized that form very well. It was the human form that Giratina took once in a while. Time seemed to have slowed down as his vision acquired a red tint. Charizard used Fire Blast at the man, but Shriam used Dragon Rush to immediately break every bone in Charizard's body. Blood splashed everywhere as Charizard's head exploded. Rayquaza's Hyper Beam hit Salamence, destroying most of his body. Articuno was struck by Reshiram's strongest flame attack and became a burnt mess. You had potential, but you are on the wrong side. Fans walked past Mutuo as his head exploded by an attack from the Dark Lugia. You worked hard, but time is over for you. Marshadow summoned a blade of darkness and slashed through Aoki's body into two. Emotions of despair and fury filled Dark Ray as he watched the lifeless bodies of his companions end. Aoki! You disappoint me, Incubus! Fans snatched the ring out of Dark Ray's hand as he remained frozen. I will not kill you, Incubus, although we are on different sides. Unlike you, I wouldn't kill my own kind. You will live, and face the consequences of your actions. Marshadow splatters Aoki's body on Dark Ray's face and hands. Fans walked and climbed on the head of Rayquaza as all of them took off, giving back Dark Ray control of his body. The blue sea had become red. Wherever eyes went, there were bodies of Pokémon that had lost their life. Whether it be the dragons summoned by Timaet or Aoki's companions. Dark Ray's body shook with grief as he looked at his arms covered in blood. No. 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 You can't die, Aoki! Celebi cried out, desperately trying to attach Aoki's lifeless body. The world doesn't have a future without you. Please live, please live, please live. Chapter 180, Life and Death. You are my family now, Dark Ray. I will help you become strong again. You should socialize more and tell me your problems, I will help you. That move was amazing, do it again. We will save the world, Dark Ray. You have changed, Dark Ray, and I am proud of you for that. Memories of Aoki flashed in the head of Dark Ray as for the first time, he shed tears. His family, his hope, and his purpose were snatched away from him. Rage that threatened to burn the world filled Dark Ray as his energy level started to rise, breaking the barrier of champion rank and going beyond. Aoki's residual aura, the energy of chaos, essence from the hearts of Gengar and Hydreigon and himself intertwined together, rising Dark Ray's power. I will not let things end like this. I refuse to accept this reality. I will bring you back, Aoki, even from the depths of hell. Dark Ray's anger started affecting the surroundings as everything started to disintegrate into nothingness. Celebi could not handle the pressure and immediately lost consciousness. Not everything is lost, Dark Ray. Mew's voice reached Dark Ray's ears, but it intensified his anger even more. It was because of Mew that Aoki decided to fight Tiamat. It was because of this that Aoki came face to face with Giratina. Mew had the power to aid but didn't do anything. You must be wondering why I didn't help. Because I knew everything would turn out like this, Mew said. Dark Ray grabbed Mew by the neck and focused all his pressure on Mew. It's impossible that other legendaries weren't alerted. Forget about Latios and Latias, not even the bird trio was here. I knew you stopped the legendaries from aiding in the battle. The legendaries can't handle the energy of chaos. I didn't want the legendaries to die a meaningless death. Meaningless? You think Aoki's and my companion's death was meaningless? Give me a good reason as to why I shouldn't end your life, Mew. Because I can revive Aoki and the others. Dark Ray went silent for a second before speaking up. Don't lie to me, Mew. There is no Pokemon who has the ability to revive the dead. If Dialga was alive, he could manipulate time, but he is dead. Celebi can't do anything. The closest Pokemon to come near to the powers of death is Yveltal, but he can't revive the dead. Moreover, he is most probably alongside Giratina. There is one Pokemon that was born after the end of the war to return life to the world. Xerneas, the Pokemon with the power to grant life. Mew said as a 3-meter-tall Pokemon stepped near Darkrai. Xerneas was a quadrupedal, stag-like Pokemon with 4 pairs of antlers. Although the energy level of Xerneas was only at peak champion rank compared to Darkrai, who broke the barrier, Darkrai felt an immense threat from Xerneas. A fairy type. Fairy-type Pokemon didn't exist during the time of the war, so Darkrai had no idea about Xerneas, as these species of Pokemon came much later. Xerneas was full of vitality, unlike any Pokemon Aoki had seen. The shadow cast by Xerneas expanded as another Pokemon revealed itself from the shadows. A bird-like dark Pokemon with black and red color, having powers similar to Darkrai. A retainer with power over death and guide souls in the afterlife, Yveltal. Quietus, is that you? Darkrai muttered, immediately raising his guard to maximum. It's been a while, Incubus. No need to raise your guard, we are on the same side. Yveltal, it's the name humans gave me. I want you to call me by that. Yveltal said, landing near Darkrai. I awakened the rulers of life and death who were sleeping for thousands of years for this moment. I wouldn't let Aoki die like this. There is no future beside him, Mew said, carrying Celebi in his arms. Yveltal flapped wings like arms as the dead bodies of the dragons started to integrate into his body. Black bubbles started to cover the bodies of Aoki and his companions as a faint trace of life surrounded them. Yveltal looked at Xerneas, who moved forward. The rainbow color horns of Xerneas shone as the bodies of Aoki and the others began getting covered in flowers as slowly their bodies started to reconstruct. Their heartbeat increased as life started to enter their bodies. I had to keep their power hidden from Giratina. Yveltal can drag their souls near their bodies with his powers, but only Xerneas can give back their souls, Mew said. Darkrai felt a cloak of dark aura cover his body once again as Aoki opened his eyes. Xerneas could sense the magical effect of dark aura. She sat beside Aoki and started feeling Aoki's aura. Thousands of years ago, she completely depleted her strength to bring life back to the earth, but now, she believed that she could attain her strength back again. Aoki looked around to find his Pokemon asleep while some newcomers were in front of him. I am alive. Seems like it was the second time I avoided death, Aoki said, chuckling. You were dead, these two just brought you back from death. Darkrai slowly approached Aoki and enveloped him in a hug. Aoki realized what had happened and hugged Darkrai back. It's okay now, Darkrai. So we have some good news and some bad news, Mew said as everyone surrounded Mew. Even Celebi woke up from her state and sat on Aoki's lap, hugging him. Bad news is Giratina is back and has some of the strongest legendaries with their prime strength on his side. As of now, we stand no chance. Everything happened too fast, so I didn't get to assess their power. How strong are they? Mewtwo asked. If we go by the leveling system to assess strength. Clefalbel, Aerodactyl, Gyarados, Victreebel, Pidgeot, and Nidoking reached champion rank in the battle and are around level 80s and 90s. Articuno, Charizard, and Salamence are at level 100. Darkrai broke the level barrier and is around level 110. Apep was around level 130 and Timaet was around level 150. Reshiram, Zekrom, Lugia, and Rayquaza were around level 200 while Giratina's original strength surpassed 200. Mew said. The difference in strength is enormous, no wonder we lost, Aoki said. Charizard, Articuno, and Salamence gritted their teeth in frustration at their weakness. Now here is some good news. Giratina has found the Ring of Woopa and would be busy for a while to revive him from the ring and remake the gate to the distortion world to bring back his original body. Every legendary is now alerted about Giratina's exit ants. So Jinrodina would lay low for a few years as they are not ready to confront every legendary yet. We have at least 3 years in our hands. How many of them decide to fight with Aoki, depends on his ability. But there are some legendaries you must get on your side, Aoki. Kyurem, Groudon, and Kyogre, and some of them. I had reached out to Kyurem before Giratina, but he refuses to fight unless is defeated. Is Kyurem as strong as Reshiram and Zekrom? Aoki asked. Yes, Kyurem's strength is equivalent to theirs, so you must bring them to your side. I will let you confront Kyurem when at least 3 of your Pokemon reach level 130, Mew said. Darkrai gives Aoki the stone you found from Timaet's body. Darkrai took out a black stone from his dimension and handed it to Aoki. You would need a titan by your side. It has a fragment of Timaet's soul. Keep supplying it with a dark aura and energy of chaos to revive Timaet. This time, the titan would be loyal to you. I have decided to fight alongside you, Aoki. I will be your retainer of life. Xerneas spoke up. Since Incubus is by your side, I will by your side too. I will be your retainer of death. Yveltal said. I changed my mind about staying out of battle, I will support you too, Aoki. Till now, I never used my time powers to their full extent, fearing the consequences, but I don't care anymore. Celebi said. Alright then. We may have lost the first battle, but we have not lost the war. Let's work together and end this once and for all.
Thanks for listening.